Hi y'all, good morning. If you coming fishing with me today, we better get it in gear and let's go. Look where that sun's at, man. That sun has already popped up over the trees over yonder. Y'all running late. I'm running late, really. I kept hitting the snooze this morning, but we're gonna get after them right now. I am in a shallow backwater creek system. I've pulled the kayak up here, kind of in this marshy area, and we're gonna cast some baits out here in this shallow, skinny water and see what we can pull out of here today. Now, this is gonna be a first for me on this video, something I've never tried before. I'm gonna do a raw and uncut, unedited carp fishing trip. Y'all gonna see everything from right now when we're about to toss some baits in till we'll leave this camera rolling 3-4 hours here and y'all just see it all. So we gotta get after it though, buddy, real quick. The sun is already higher in the sky. I was hoping to already be out here and set up a half hour ago, but the snooze was calling my name today. So let's get our baits on here, y'all. I'll show you my rigs. We'll talk about why I'm setting up here, where I am, all that nonsense as we get going. And then hopefully we're gonna tear them up today, y'all. So right here is a method feeder. It's a cheap Amazon job, these wire coil feeders. Below it, I've got a hair rig, which is just a number 6 size hook with a little string, part of the line hanging off of it there, that I've got a couple pieces of plastic corn on. And I'm gonna take on this wire coil feeder here, I'm gonna take some breadcrumbs and some corn and jello. It's all mixed up together. This is called pack bait. If you're new to my channel or new to carp fishing, this is just a dough-like mixture that's made of panko breadcrumbs. I've got a can of sweet corn and a can of cream-style corn, and then some jello mix, strawberry jello mix. You mix it all together. It allows you to pack it onto this coil feeder here as I hit my rod on the bill of my hat. Now we're going to cast around here, kind of fan cast these baits. I'm going to start out with 3 rods, and I've thrown that one over there almost on that shoreline over there, folks, because I want to get, here's what I want to do. I want to hit over there along the edges where I expect kind of carp to be swimming along that grass line over there. We'll throw one out here this direction, a little bit deeper water here in this creek. It's not real deep. There's some deep areas of the creek, but this here that we're set up in ain't one of them. But we'll put one out here in a little deeper water, and then we'll take another rod, a third rod here, and we'll cast out kind of along the shoreline on the opposite bank over there and see what we can get here this morning. I'm expecting some fish to be here. We're just in this time of year here in the spring where these fish should be moving up here to spawn very quickly. Water temps have really started to heat up. Yeah, we're gonna leave that one out this way a little bit here and kind of just a little bit deeper water, and then this next one we throw out, which I'm looking right in the sun, y'all probably are too. I gotta get my shades on here in a minute. We're gonna throw it that way toward the other shoreline here. Trying to give these fish a little room to run when they do hit the bait. That way we don't get everything tangled up. And if the bite gets going really good, we get them feeding on one particular area there on one rod, we'll put 1 or possibly 2 of these rods up and just focus on the one that's getting bit. But right now, to start with, when we're first baiting up here, I just want to get some scent in the water. I want to give them something to come find. So I'm going to walk down here just a little bit. We'll walk through the duck and goose poop here. And I'm going to throw this one try to get it more over there toward that other shoreline there. I'm staring in the sun. Y'all have to tell me how close I got to it. I can't half see right now. I'm gonna have to pull out my shades in a minute. Like I said, I was hoping I'd already be set up a half hour ago. We could have watched that sun come up together, but I hit the snooze today, y'all. Okay, so we got everything out now. All of these rigs are the exact same as the first one I showed you. The one difference is I've got 2 of these rigs that has yellow pieces of plastic corn. One has hot pink colored. And you can see this mix here. It's got obviously the yellow pieces of actual corn in there. And then the color of the breadcrumbs is pink from the strawberry jello. So we got plenty of pack bait. I mixed this up here. This was, I went to Walmart and got some just grocery store baits. This is 4 cans of breadcrumbs. I got the 1 can, like the larger size can of sweet corn, 1 of cream style corn, and all the contents of the can got dumped in. I don't drain the juice, anything like that. And that's half a box of the larger pack of jello. And I'm gonna grab my shades here, put them on, and then we fishing, man. So this creek, like I mentioned here, it's a shallow creek. Back up here in this direction, it gets real narrow and tightens down. Over here in this direction, it gets narrow and tightens down. But right in here, you can see it widens out. And it's very shallow right here. There's one little section of this creek, the water's like 8 or 9 feet deep ahead of this. And then it comes up here and you're talking 2 or 3. If you're in that old original creek channel, you might hit 4 foot maybe in areas when the water's up anyway. And then it comes up here and it's, you know, shallow back up here again. So I'm hoping some carp are working up in here today to kind of get up in this grassy area that's in this particular section of the creek. They have started raising our water level right now, trying to raise it up to normal pool here on the Tennessee River. They're a little late this year. You know, normally by now we're just about at full pool. And when the water's up at full pool, in this particular creek, it goes all the way back there to the tree line. And that high grass over there, you can see how it kind of follows along. But when the water's down in the late fall, winter, early spring months, this grass in this area that's normally submerged, it starts to grow. And so as the water raises, this grass goes underwater. The carp in the spring will come up, get in this grass, root around, find them stuff to eat, worms and whatnot that was here when this area wasn't submerged with water. They'll get in there as it raises and be able to get those bugs and worms and all that. And then too, this time of year, they start to do their spawning ritual. So you'll see them oftentimes in the spring, they'll be working up in the grass. You'll see them swimming beside each other, just thrashing the surface, you know, banging their tails together. That's how they spawn. And so you'll see that in these grassy areas oftentimes too. I did see some carp spawning activity recently on a trip down on Chickamauga Reservoir, which is I'm on Watts Bar today, so it's the reservoir right below us. But water temperature's a little bit warmer down there. And I saw some carp spawning, but it wasn't like just widespread spawning action. So I still think maybe it's a little early right now for it to be going on, but nevertheless, hopefully going to be some carp up here in the shallows. I fished a carp trip recently. I got on a bunch of carp in the shallows. Right place, right time, man. I tore them up. Now, spoiler alert, if you're seeing this, we got on some today. Just FYI, it means something went right for us. Raw and uncut, I'm bringing you on an unedited trip, a real fishing trip here. You see everything, you know, from casting lines in, any mishaps, tangles, crazy catches, you see it all. But I wouldn't be posting a skunk trip. So if you're seeing this, some things went right for us here today. So we're gonna put in a little time here this morning, see what happens. And like I said, I'm gonna leave the camera rolling. I'm gonna have it in my chest here. And hopefully look right here. Look right here on this rod right here. Did I imagine that? I thought we had a little bump, like there might be something over there near our rod. Could be a turtle possibly. Or a channel cat or something over there. I expected it would take maybe 30 minutes, maybe an hour to get our first bite. If you're looking if you only give a crap about the action today and not just me flapping my gums and all that nonsense, well, stick around before you fast forward, because that rod tip right there, we're about to get us one right here, man. There's something over there working it. I'm gonna get up here and let me get my net ready over here. Didn't think we were gonna need it this soon, but we'll stick it there and get it ready in case this rod goes down in a second. He's over there by that pile of pack bait. He's rooting around it. He's hitting our line there as he's eating those breadcrumbs. And here in a minute, as he's sucking up that corn and the breadcrumbs, he's gonna suck up our plastic corn. And he's gonna fill that hook and it's gonna be off to the races. He's got it now, I think. He does. Now, what is he is the next question. Is he a carp? Yeah, it's a carp. He's running. When I first picked up on him, I wasn't sure if it was gonna be a carp or a catfish. Well, that didn't take long, y'all. If we can keep him out of the other line now, we'll be really in business. I thought it would take 30 minutes to an hour to get a bite, just because when I come in this creek, I've got the motor going, obviously, to get up through here. And, you know, in this shallow water, noise travels quickly, and you're spooking all them fish as you come up through here. And sometimes you'll see them and they'll scatter. I didn't have my glasses on coming up through here, so I wasn't really seeing fish. But it takes them a little while after you spook them to come back to where they were at. And so I didn't expect to really get bit this quickly. This is a welcome surprise. But the other day, that last carp session, it didn't take me very long to get bit then either. They were just so many fish in that area that it was on almost instantly, and it was constant action. From the time I got there to the time I left them biting that day. Let's see, is this gonna turn out to be a carp or is it gonna be a cat? Maybe it's a buffalo. Wouldn't that be a nice surprise? That would be an awesome surprise. I still can't see. I'm looking right into a dang glare, y'all. I hope it's not real bad glare on the camera. The sun will be up at a better angle here in a few minutes. Y'all bear with it and it'll get better, I promise. My commentary and the video may not get better, but the sun direction, the sun angle will get a little better. I think it's gonna be a pretty solid fish right here, man. Yeah, that's a solid fish. Let's see if we can net this thing. Fish number one is gonna be a pretty good carp here. Come here, carp. Yes, sir, buddy. That is a nice fish, man. Holy cow, y'all. Look at fish number one. Look at fish number one here, y'all. That's a stud. It's a Saved by the Bell. When we were kids, y'all, TV show, they'd call A.C. Slater a stud muffin. That's what we got right here. I gotta get us a camera mount set up here, y'all. Fish number one, man. Lord, we ain't got pliers out or nothing here. I'm gonna try to just pop this hook out real easy here. Oh Lord, y'all. We got another one going down here. Where's my dang? We've lost the pliers. Hold on, we got another one going down. Boy, that's fast, y'all. Let me crank down the drag on him a second there. I'll leave that drag loose. That way they got time to suck that bait up and get stuck with the hook, and then I turn the drag on, tighten it down in the fight there. These carp oftentimes surge when they first feel that stick of the hook. And when they bolt, if you got the drag set too tight, they just pull the hook right out because their mouths are real soft. Boy, how far are we into this trip, y'all? We're just a few minutes in. We couldn't have had lines in by now, but just a few minutes. I got to get rid of this other one here in a second. We'll get this one up here near the surface, get him tired down, and then we'll release our other one. Boy, y'all, this is exciting, man. Here I was worried coming out here trying to do a raw and uncut video day. I'm like, what happens if I have to wait an hour? What if I spook all these fish coming up through here and I got to wait an hour to get a bite? How's that going to work? Is anybody going to be left watching? And here we are just a few minutes in. Nobody may still be watching, but by gosh, it ain't because of not catching fish. Okay, this one here, let's get a look at him. He's going to be significantly smaller than the one we just landed. Let's just set him back here a second. And I want to go ahead and I'm going to get a picture of this one right here. I want to get a picture of him because he's a dang good fish, man. This thing is you can tell, man, it's about spawning time. This thing's just fat. I'm going to try to pop this hook out. That one ate the hot pink corn right there. So we got our yellow corn on the outside rods, and that hot pink there was in the middle. Let me set y'all up here in the front seat. Y'all snap a picture of this fish for me, would you? You're holding the camera crooked here. There we go. Y'all gotta work on your photography skills there, people. Okay, Carp, I want you to be calm. Oh, 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 you ain't being calm. These things don't ever wanna calm down for you here. Okay. Okay, there he is. Oh. You're gonna take a picture of me, fish. You're like a rowdy kid with Santa Claus pictures. Holiday season, fish. I can't get my words out. Look at that. That's a nice one there, fish number one. Look at the belly on that thing. He's got a Dunlop belly. It's done lopped over his belt. Okay. Go on, fish. Go on there. We'll let him go. Our other one here, I ain't gonna bring in. I'm just gonna release him down here in the water if we can. There goes old sow belly there. Y'all, if you get out of this kayak today and you come out here on the creek bank with me, y'all be careful. That ground is slick right here. You step in that mud the wrong way, buddy, you're gonna be slipping and sliding. You're gonna be on your hind end out here embarrassing yourself. That's another fear of an unedited video like this. If I do bust my hind end and make a fool of myself, it's gonna be on video. Normally, I just make a fool of myself with the stories I tell and the stuff I say. But today, we got a chance of blooper stuff happening here, don't we, fish? There he goes. He's just a smaller one right there. Let me steer you back that way. There you go, fish. Oh, buddy, y'all, hey, fish number 1 and 2. Boom, back to back, man. Fist pump worthy for sure on that first one. Let's do it again, man. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna cast these baits back out. If they're gonna bite like that, we're not gonna end up fishing 3 rods today when it's said and done. We'll go down to 1 or 2. We won't be able to keep up with the action. I've had some days like that, especially in the spring when the bunch of fish are moving up, spawning. I had a trip a couple years ago, and the spawn was actively happening that day while I was out there. Like, you could see them thrashing the surface. It was in this area, actually, as a matter of fact. I had filmed that video. And I literally had to go down to 1 rod because as soon as I would get the bait cast out, I just threw half that pack bait off on that one. That's all right. We had plenty of it still on the feeder there as it hit. But that particular day, there were so many fish and they were so active and aggressive. As soon as my bait would hit the water, they would be on it. Like, it was just incredible. But I couldn't have fished multiple rods that day. I couldn't. There was no way, because it was just too much action going on. I'm not saying we're going to have that kind of day today, but I'm just saying if the bite does really get going for us, we won't be able to manage all these rods unless I can get y'all to be a team player here and come through that screen and help me reel one in. And you ought to. I mean, they're fun to catch. I catch grief because, you know, my channel name is Kayak Catfish, and here I am carp fishing. So, you know, a lot of people out there think if you got a channel name that says catfish, you shouldn't fish for nothing else. And some of these people just don't like carp for whatever reason. They're deemed a trash fish here in America. But I have gotten into them the last couple years. I'm not very good at it. I fully admit that. I feel like I'm good at it sometimes, you know, when the bite's good, but there's other times where I sit out there a long period of time and don't catch anything. This is now my 4th carp fishing trip of 2024. My first 2 were skunk trips. I didn't catch anything. No, I take that back. This is my 5th trip. My first 2 were skunk trips. My 3rd trip, I fished down there on Chickamauga when I saw those fish that I thought were getting ready to spawn, and I got 1. And then my last session that's when I really got on them and really tore them up. So this is my 5th carp fishing session of 2024. And we are off to a dang good start, man. I thought that rod there, I might have imagined it was getting hit. May have been the ripple on the water. It was a little splash of a shad or something right there. Let's see if I can get y'all adjusted here in the chest. But again, y'all, man, that's exciting so quickly. You know, again, historically, when I roll into one of these creeks, I'm gonna step back here so we can watch these rods. But it usually takes a while just from spooking the fish. We already got one after this one right here. Sometimes you see your line bouncing around like that. I think that's carp getting down there and your pack bait just messing with it. Maybe their tail's hitting your line. Oh, oh, oh. This one on the left got hit, but he didn't hook up apparently. Maybe, let's pick up on this thing. The rod tip bounced. Has he got it and swimming this way? He does. He was coming right at us. I didn't know. I thought he dropped it. Oh, buddy, don't get in them other lines over there, fish. Get control of your fish, y'all. We need to tighten up them other lines there where I just cast out. He's gonna get in them if we aren't careful. Y'all get control of your fish here. Do something with him. We're gonna have to go down to 2 rods. This creek here is just so narrow. There's only so much. We can only spread our bait so far, you know what I mean? I wanted to maximize just our amount of bait out that we had first thing, try to get some scent out, you know? Because there's very little water movement in this creek right now. And I don't think there's any flow in it right now, to be honest with you. We had a little bit of rain a couple days ago, but we didn't get much, and it don't appear to be enough to really get some flow going out in this creek. Plus, too, with them raising our water level up, TVA's moving water through the dams to raise our water level, you've got water actually moving into this creek instead of water being allowed to just naturally flow and flow out. So just all of that, basically we're not going to have much flow in this creek. Not much water movement to disperse the scent, so I wanted to try to maximize our bait coverage first thing. This is another fish here that looks to be pretty good quality, man. He hasn't fought too incredibly hard. I guess that other fish, he was messing with that line over there, but he doesn't appear to have hooked up at all. I'm gonna net this one too. I brought my net with me. Y'all come and fish with me today, you could be my net man. Come here. Come here, carp. I'll hold you up for a picture too if you'll allow it. Carp are kind of an unruly fish when you land them. Like, they don't want to be calm. Oh, hey, carp. Boy, y'all, that's another dang good fish. Boy, we're on some good quality today. I guess these are, you know, pre-spawn carp that have worked up in here. And am I sitting on my pliers right now? Yes, I am. Boy, it's a wonder we didn't have to go to the proctologist after this trip today with me sitting on them dang pliers. Boy, that'd be an accident I don't want to happen. Good golly, fish, we about had us a bad day. I don't care how many fish you catch and you get a set of pliers up your hind end, your day's ruined. A trip to the proctologist, you ain't having a good day, folks. That just ain't got the makings of a good day. Nobody's ever went to the proctologist and had them a good day. All right, y'all, take a picture of me and this fish. This here's another good one. I'll get hold of him here. Oh, buddy, man, this is a good one. I can't get hold of him. Oh, man. Oh, buddy, that's awesome. That's another nice carp, man. Oh, man. This is fun, y'all. Man. Why don't people like these things? Get out of here, buddy. Oh. Boy, he just tried to swat me across the bicep. He didn't want me reeling in no more of his friends, did he? Bam, buddy, yes. We're on them today, man. This is going so much better. I mean, I'd hoped to get some, and some hopefully good quality ones today, but this is happening so much quicker than I thought it would. I did not expect to get a bite like this quickly into the trip. This doesn't normally happen like this, folks. This doesn't. Normally it takes a little while. Maybe we're in another situation, right place, right time. Apparently got a bunch of fish here in this creek. 2 of them fish there with the big bellies and all, probably full of eggs, you know, pre-spawn. But I like them, man. They're a fun time. For the longest time, I was like everybody else, just hating on them, you know, because they're a trash fish. Basically, I was just, boy, I did not cast that over there as far as I wanted to. That's okay. We'll give it a little time and see. I was hoping to get it closer to that shoreline. But you know, I used to not really give these carp any respect either. And I was basically just spewing out stuff I had heard. Hadn't educated myself at all. I was ignorant. But the last 3 years here is y'all wave at the geese. They got a lot to say. I hope they don't crap on my head as they fly over. But the last 3 years here, I've spent a little bit more time with the carp, targeting them. And you experience these fights. Pound for pound, carp are incredibly hard fighters. And you experience that in these shallow water areas. Man, it's fun, man. It's a dang good time. And Here's one of the things that I've become to really love about the carp. It doesn't take me any time to get the bait. When I go grocery shopping, I did make a trip to Walmart for the panko. I've quit going to Walmart. I get my groceries at Aldi now. But I did make a trip to Walmart, but it don't take any time, man. Pick you up some breadcrumbs, some corn, Jell-O, things that are readily available, cheap to buy. And you can go out and catch some large sized fish. We got a middle rod here getting a little action. There's something over there. That rod tip's wiggling. I'm gonna just go up here and it's about to happen. As I slip and slide. We're gonna have a time if I have to run for a rod today, y'all. Well, my line, it was just hitting my line over there. They're around that bait. We'll leave things be for now though. If we go a stretch and we've had that happen, and then the line just quits moving, you know, and it's been a while, then we'll cast back out, we'll refresh the baits. I don't want to reel in right now. You know, obviously there's still a fish over there with that line kind of jumping around. May not necessarily be a carp. You know, that could be turtle, it could be channel cat, some other panfish, you know, just messing around in that stuff and their tails hitting the line possibly. The way that line keeps jumping though, I'm believing it might be I'm gonna pick up I'm gonna put just a little tension on it just to see. No, he ain't got it. He ain't got it there, folks. I thought he might have had it and was sitting there, but he don't. He's gonna get it here in a second though. He's all around it. I didn't spook him when I picked up. But as the morning goes on here, oh, now he's got it. Now he's got it. Now he's on it. He got it in. He was eating all around it there. But as the morning goes on, and we've casted out baits numerous times in kind of the same areas, well then when we repack our feeders for subsequent casts, we won't have to put as much on it. Okay, good, he swam under my other line over there. We got lucky. He needs to just keep going this way and away from that other line. Let's walk down the shoreline here. Go this way, try to keep him out of that line. But once we get them kind of drawn into an area, the more bait we cast out, we're building that, we're just putting more and more chum in the water basically. And we'll get to a point where we don't have to put much on our feeder. And so that'll help conserve our bait, which we may have to do with the number of fish we're catching here right off the get-go. And I don't see them. Like, it's hard for me to see much right now with the sun at the angle it's at. But like, I don't see them up there on the grass trying to spawn or anything. Like, I don't see any of that activity. I didn't see it coming into this creek. I didn't see anything like that. So, tough to know. You know, when you see them up thrashing the grass, you can kind of get an idea, like, holy cow, there's 50, 100 fish in here. Out here today, I have no idea how many's in here. This is a smaller one right here. I'm gonna walk down here, get my pliers. We'll try to release this one in the water. You never really catch a truly small carp. I mean, this one here, I say he's small, and he's certainly smaller than the other ones that we've gotten there, at least compared to those two big ones, but he's still, I mean, he's probably 4 or 5 pounds. I don't know what it takes to catch a 1 or 2 pound carp. You just don't ever, outside of getting them in a cast net, when I'm trying to catch shad, oh, he just unhooked himself. Thanks, carp. Let me just give you the foot there. We'll see you, buddy. Thanks for a good time. I don't know what it takes to catch a small one, though. like a 1-2 pounder? I have no idea. You just never catch them outside of a cast net situation. I would use them for bait, catfish bait, more frequently. If I got the smaller ones. These big ones, you take one like we just had on right there, that's probably 4 or 5 pounds. That thing, trying to cut it up, you'd about need a chainsaw. They're just scales and bones. There's hardly any meat on them. And they're so much trouble to cut up for catfish bait, I just don't want to fool with it. I mean, I've caught some good fish on carp when I've used it before, but I just don't like using it. So, if y'all got any tips out there for catching smaller carp, I mean, hell, I'm using, as I just stick it in my finger, I'm using number 6 size hooks. There, we got that one going down. Hold on, y'all, hold on. Let's throw that out. I got that over there on that other short line over there. That one I threw too far. The other ones I ain't thrown far enough. But it clearly didn't matter on, ooh, about took another tumble. It clearly didn't matter on this because he come and found it. But yeah, if y'all got any tips on catching smaller carp, I'd be interested in hearing it. I mean, obviously I want to catch the biggest ones possible when I'm out here. But I mean, if I had like one rod with a designated rig or setup or whatever to try to catch a small one for bait while I was carp fishing, that'd be awesome. This is another probably 4 or 5 pounder here. Smaller by our carp standards. He's thrashing around though, man. He's excited, buddy. He's doing his dance on the video here. Somebody will put that to music on the TikTok and make him famous. Somebody's got to start the trend. Somebody's got to be number 1 on these dance routines. It's going to be this carp, apparently. Come over here, carp. You're going to be another one. We're going to try to quick release here. The bar's been set high for what's getting a picture with us today. Come on, carp, calm it down. Calm it down, buddy. I'll take that hook out, 2 seconds there. There we go. Let's set a rod down. We'll help this one out. Get him on back in the water here. He wants to help himself out, apparently. There we go, good buddy. Easy peasy. George and Wheezy, there he goes. Okay. Y'all, man, this is awesome. There's fish in this creek right now. Our other line's going slack over here. Our other line just went slack. I saw it bouncing here. I think he's got it, man. Yep, he does. Boy, y'all, man. Y'all picked a good day to come with me if y'all are coming on this trip, buddy. They are in here. I bet you they'll be spawning in a few days. Man, it's fun when these carp are fun to catch anyway, but when you get them like this and it's just one after another, this is fun. Oh, okay, he's still on. I thought he'd come off there. He's just apparently acting crazy out there in the water, flopping around like his friend was doing a second ago. But you know, I mean, we're catching a lot of these fish. I'm not really seeing anything in this creek. An occasional shad flipping. Oftentimes, you know, you'll see carp coming up and splashing on the surface and stuff. And I'm not seeing any of that, but they're here. By gosh, they are here. Listen here, he said he's here in a big way. think. I don't think he's gonna be all that big, but you never really know till you get one up close, because sometimes you look at them at a distance and you think they're not very big, and then you get up close, you're like, okay, that was way bigger than I thought. They all fight so dang hard, it's hard to kind of judge just by the fight how big one is. Yeah, this one here, he's maybe a little bigger than the last one there, but not where his other friends were at. Come over here, Carp. Need to get you going before somebody in the comment box calls you invasive, even though you're not, and hurts your feelings. A lot of people call these common carp invasive. We do have, well, we don't where I'm at, but in the Tennessee River and making their way north are invasive Asian carp. Common carp are not those species. They are not invasive. People will argue with you in the comments that they are, but they are not. Bass fishermen will try to tell you that these carp are bad for bass fishing. The bass tournament guys who are in the comment box telling you that are far worse on bass fishing than the carp will ever be. They kill more fish in their tournaments than the carp could ever dream of by tearing up spawning beds. We don't have a problem with numbers of bass here in Tennessee. There's plenty of numbers of bass. We have a problem with big bass in Tennessee, and that's because there's a tournament 7 nights a week and at every boat ramp on Saturday that is catching a 5-fish limit, sloshing them around in live wells all day, keeping them out of the water way too long at tournament weigh-ins, and then them fish are dying 2, 3, 5 days later, a week later, from the stress and lactic acid buildup. And then they wonder why they ain't got no big bass in their waters here. And they want to blame everything but their own actions. But it ain't the carp causing problems with big bass. I'll promise you that. We gotta get over here and cast this other line back out. We're gonna go down 2 rods at some point if they keep biting like this. Right now, when I can just basically reel them in one at a time, I'm pretty content with keeping 3 out, but go over here. Did that line just jump? I thought it did. I am looking into the sun going that way, so I could be, my eyes could be deceiving me. Goodness, let me not get that tangled up there. Pack a little more on that, and again, we don't have to really use a whole lot at this point because we've casted numerous times, and we've got a lot of scent in the same rough. Boy, I keep about to fall. Sometimes you step in this mud and you slide, and sometimes your foot sticks. But we've hit enough cast into general areas. When your bait hits the water there, some of that pack bait comes off instantly. And so it'll be up there on the surface kind of spreading out. And then there's been a couple casts, of course, that I've made lousy cast and pack bait goes flying through the air. If you're going to do this, it's best to have your rod. I'm using these Catfish Sumo original chopstick rods. They're a catfish rod. They're a lighter action rod. They've got, there was one. You see that over there on the surface? That was a carp over there. But they've got a softer action tip Now, when you're using pack bait, and it really don't matter what rod you use, but you want to have a rod that you can kind of lob the bait. If you got a real stiff action rod, a fast action rod, if you will, it's got a stiff tip, you're going to fling that pack bait off a lot. That's one of the things that was happening to me when I was using like bass rods and stuff when I was first kind of getting into the carp fishing. I was flinging a lot of the pack bait off. But when I switched to these rods, the softer tip allowed me to kind of lob it more. And it'll help your calls immensely. I ain't trying to sell you no rods out here. Although I do really like these Catfish Sumo rods, but you know, whatever you get, just don't make it a real stiff tip rod. The rest of my gear here is set up, in case you're wondering though. I've got a 30-pound braid mainline. I think that's Power Pro, I think. I've had it on there a couple years now. And then I've got Daiwa BG 4000 reels. They're just a little bit larger capacity reels. That way I can cast a little farther and have enough line capacity that these carp, they can have some room to run on that initial, when they first take off there. Sometimes I fish up to 4 rods. Right there, buddy, we just cast it out. Let me get to it here without busting my tail fish. Sometimes I will fish 4 rods, but in a creek this tight, it would be Tangle City. We've been fortunate so far that we haven't had a carp just take off running straight for our other lines in that particular direction. I'm surprised it hasn't happened yet. But I mean, you can fish with 1 rod. You know, state law is obviously applied. Here in Tennessee, there's no restrictions on how many rods you can have. Some states are different. Ohio, for instance, used to be 2 rods. Now we went to 3, I think, last year. So, you know, it depends on where you're at. But the tighter space you're in, the less rods I'd recommend you using, because these things will run. This one though, man, it did not take long at all for him to hit that bait. I hope, you know what else would be cool today? And I haven't got one. Obviously, my carp catches have been extremely limited this year with my lousy performances before today and the last trip, but it would be really cool if we got a mirror carp today. Haven't gotten one this year yet. I also haven't gotten a buffalo this year yet. So we could see some of those up in here today, potentially. I do like some buffalo. That's a fish I'm even worse at catching than carp. Don't be flopping that mud around, fish. You're liable to throw it on these people here that are just here to watch you fish. They didn't come out here for no mud bath. Oh, Lord. I got mud in my ear now, fish. Here, head back that way. Flop this direction, you'll go home. Lord. He got me good, y'all. I hope it's just water inside my ear. Let me set this down over here. He get mud. Y'all survived something. He didn't get a drop of water on the land. I got something here. Is that water or mud? Don't be looking at my earwax down in my ear hole there, y'all. It may just be water. I may have got lucky right there. Janged old fish, man. He's like, doo-doo on you, Justin. I'm getting warm out here, y'all. I had my hoodie on coming up river to get in this creek this morning. I took it off because I figured it would warm up fast with that sun peeking up. Now, all this action going on, I'm starting to get a little warm. I got half of mine, take my bibs off. I probably shouldn't, video purposes here. I mean, I ain't gonna be sitting out here butt-ass naked or nothing. I got pants on under this, but I'm just saying, y'all don't wanna be watching me strip out of these bibs or nothing. I ain't trying to get no dollar bills out of you out here. Oh, this rod right here is about to go down. Let's get this and cast back out. There's weight on it right there. Let's just throw this one back out over here, and we're gonna run over and grab that one. Man, y'all, how about this day? How about this day, folks? Oh, let's get through this, man. The lines went slack now. I think he's still got it. Yep, he's got it. Let's walk down here, try to, oh, he just come free then. He had it and then the line went slack. He probably never really had the hook good. Well, we was on a pretty good streak of not missing fish there. It had to end eventually. Let's throw some more out real quick. I'm not gonna put much on this one. Just enough to kind of cover the feeder there a little bit. If the bite slows down, we can always go to add more on. Now I do take an extra step with these rigs. You see my main line here tied to a swivel, and then I've got another section of line with this feeder down to another swivel, which then I attach my pre-tied hair rigs to. I buy these hair rigs pre-tied, y'all. That's ESP brand hooks. I do that. You can run that line straight through them, put a split shot or something there, you know. I do this the way I do it. It's an extra step, but what it allows me to do, I have a bunch of extra rigs tied up ready to go where if I break off, all I gotta do is attach my main line to that swivel. And I've already got my method feeder where it can only go so far up the line because you want it fairly close to your hook bait. I've got my pre-tied hair rigs already attached to that, and I've got the fake corn already attached on there too. That way, it helps me on the water when I'm out here. If I break off, it helps me be more efficient and get things back in the water, get retied, get lines back in the water quickly. When you're having to build out one of these rigs, you know, I'm getting a little older. I can't half see anymore. And I'm trying to use that hair rig tool to punch hole in my plastic corn and run that line through and then attach the hair stop at the bottom of the rig. It takes me time, you know. And so if I'm fishing, I want to try to spend as much time catching as possible. So I'd rather just spend a few more minutes at home tying them rigs up. Like in the wintertime, I tie up most of my rigs. Catfishing, the carp, my skipjack rigs, as this rod here was getting a little tap. But them cold, rainy days in the winter where I'm not on the water, man, I'll sit there in front of the TV set and just tie rigs. He's got this thing. Ooh, I about fell again. There's weight on here. He's not running yet, but there's weight. Watch this. 1, 2, 3, here we go. Oh man. If we got a turtle, I pulled and he didn't pull back. Oh man, y'all, we may have a Snappy the turtle here. As this one's about to go down now. This fish here did not pull back. Y'all, I mean, he's moving, it's not a log. I fear we may have Snappy the turtle here. I'm gonna let y'all unhook this one if that's the case. I like sliders. Mud turtles are cool, box turtles are amazing. I always pull off on the side of the road and help the box turtles across the street when I see them. I don't mess with snapping turtles. Them things will, oh no, and it is one too. What are we gonna do with this, y'all? Come here, snapper. Okay, okay. He's hooked in the foot. He's hooked in the foot right there, y'all. Look at him, boy, that's a, you imagine one of them things got a hold of your finger? We got him in the foot right here. I wonder where he's, that hook is just, I mean, it's a small hook. It's a number 6 size hook. If he's just kind of flesh hook, we may be able to kind of give it a little pop here. It didn't work. I don't want to get, I'm not going to cut this whole rig off, but I really don't want to get my hand down there by him either. You know what I mean? You know what I mean, Vern? I ain't trying to get my hand bit today. And I ain't got no long pliers. I wonder if we could use, he's a strong little thing. I can't see exactly. I think he's hooked by the claws right there. Fish, why didn't you do this on a non-unedited video day where I don't get my hand bit off in front of a semi-live studio audience here? Look at this, he's bit my dang method feeder right here. He's trying to bite the dang method feeder. That's what he's gonna do to my hand in a minute. Watch this, watch that. Look, boy, if that's my finger, buddy, you'd bite it off. He ain't letting go of it either, man. Oh boy, you old turtle, you. What are we gonna do with you? What are we gonna do? I need to get this thing up on the shore for sure. I need to take him out of his element here. Can we get him in the net maybe? Maybe I can manipulate his head with the net to be able to get the pliers down there to... We got that other rod on the left, something's... Oh, it just come off. Oh no. Oh, that dang turtle broke me off. He bit through the dang... He bit through it. He bit through my line. Oh, you dang turtle. He got my rig. Okay, okay. Well, we got this one going down. Let's grab it. That dang turtle, man, he got him a souvenir. Y'all see that thing on eBay next week. As soon as he gets over there to his house and gets on his computer, that thing will be for sale on eBay. Dang turtle. I didn't know how we were going to get that thing out of him. I'd have probably tried to get him with the net and maybe use the handle of the net to hopefully try to pin his head down to pop that thing free. I ain't trying to lose a knuckle though, buddy. A finger, a phalange, a digit. Especially, you imagine if I lost my bird finger, how would I communicate out there driving down the road? You know how often I use that on the interstate? I flipped a guy off yesterday, matter of fact. I wouldn't be able to, how would I do sign language without my middle finger? Nobody would know how I'm feeling on the highway if that turtle got my finger. This is another one here, smaller in size. Okay, okay, folks. Where's my net? Where's my net? We're gonna net this one. Let's get this rod out the way here that's turtles broke us off on. We're gonna net this one, folks. He's a smaller one, but he's getting a picture. Come on in, fish. I gotta show you off here, fish. He's a smaller one, but I spoke it into existence, y'all. I spoke it out. The universe heard me. Look at the scale pattern on him. See that odd scale pattern? That's a mirror carp. I'm gonna hold him up here. Y'all hold the camera for me, would you? Let me touch the screen so I can see what y'all seeing. Oh man, I just spoke it out to existence and here it is. Oprah Winfrey will do a show about this. Wasn't she the one that was doing that talk stuff and it happens where? I don't remember. I don't watch Oprah Winfrey, y'all. I'm just saying. I grew up in the 80s, and I was babysit by grandparents that did watch Oprah Winfrey and Donahue and all them others. You know, so I know a thing or two about it. Here we go. What's he look like on this side? Oh, yeah. Yeah. Mirrors are every one of them's got like a different scale pattern. Some of them will be kind of just like missing scales in places. This one here is not too unique, you know, not too exciting. I've busted his lip. He's never going to forgive me. But it's pretty cool we got one nonetheless. This is the first one of the year. So that's pretty cool. There you go. That's pretty cool, y'all. First one of the year, right after I was just talking about it a few minutes ago. It's a good day, y'all. It's a good day. I don't know, you know, this whole video concept, unedited, raw and uncut carp video, will it flop? Will people be interested? I don't know. You don't know till you try things. The first ultralight video I did, look here. We got one bait in the water, and here it goes. One bait, and on it goes. But you know, the first time I did it on an ultralight video, I thought, who the heck's gonna watch this? And now those videos are some of my best performing videos on my channel. And then I thought, well, people are interested in it, ultralight fishing, let me try it catfishing. Now those videos are my best performing videos on my channel. So once again, I've went back to the well. I'm like, carp, of all the videos I put out, my carp videos are the least popular. At least of the videos I consistently put out. I've tried some other stuff in the past that just flopped. You know, you never know till you try things whether something's gonna work out or not. But of things I put out fairly consistently, the carp videos perform the worst. The audience just isn't as big for it. So I have no idea this unedited carp trip, it could be a total disaster. I don't know. But we don't know till we try. And I'm trying today, and by gosh, what a day to try it on, because we are on some fish right here, man. I have no baits in the water currently. The only rig I got out there is the one in that turtle's paw, and he popped free. We got the quick release on that one. At least that fish gave us the rig back, unlike the turtle that bit through the dang line. That turtle wanted that rig. Probably for the best. I don't know what we was gonna do. A slider, a mud turtle, no problem getting hooks out of them. Even if they want to nip at you and stuff, not a big deal, you know. But snapper, them things can do some damage. They got powerful jaws. Especially one there that was, I mean, that turtle there, he wasn't huge, but he was probably like, what would you say? Small pizza size diameter? Throw that over there. Loosen our drag again. I wonder, let's just, for the time being, we're getting so much action here. Let's just cast out 2 rods for the time being. And if we get a little downtime here in a minute, I'll work on tying us up on another rig on our other rod, and we may throw it back out. Like I said, I take time in the winter months to pre-tie these things so that we get out here on the water, all I gotta do is tie 1 knot and we're back in the game. So we may end up throwing out a 3rd rod again here in a little while, but right now we're getting so much action, I just don't think we need it right now. And I'll throw this rod. We got that one going this direction. I'll throw this one back over here, but what I'll do is I'll put it on this side. on this rod holder. That way we don't have to keep running around the kayak. The more we run around today, the more likely I'm gonna take a dive. I ain't trying to go flat on my back out here, y'all. Y'all may enjoy it, seeing it happen, but I promise you, I wouldn't be laughing about it if it happened to me. I wouldn't find it funny is what I'm getting at, y'all. Nobody wants to end up on their back in the mud unless it's one of them mud wrestling girls at the Mouse's Ear Gentlemen's Club. I don't even think they do them mud wrestling matches anymore. Those were the days. Boy, in my early 20s, y'all, I lived a little more than I do now. Them were the days, the teeny bopper years. I'm seeing some stuff. I don't know if you can see right there on the wall, that piece of debris. It's going that direction. We may actually have a little bit more flow in this creek than what I thought we had. Because that right there, I mean, it ain't like, you know, a mile an hour or nothing like that. It's barely moving along, but it is moving. And there's not any wind out here, so whatever's causing it to move is the current flow. So yeah, that'll, any fish that's downstream will hopefully pick up on some of the scent, the jello, the sugar there, any breadcrumbs that go floating down. Hopefully it'll draw more in as this line here is bouncing a little now. Oh, did you see that over there? That splash right above where my line is? There's one working it over there. Hopefully it's a fish and not a turtle. We've had our fill of the turtles today, folks. I don't want to see any more unless it's a, oh, there was one that come up right there. I saw him, that was a carp. He's over there closer to the shore. I should have cast those farther to the bank. I didn't want to cast any out over here on this side of the shoreline because there's some wood right down there, obviously, it's sticking up. But I knew we were going to be walking around over here and they would, in this shallow water, they would probably see us. So I wanted to focus on the opposite side. And maybe I should have set up over there and cast it over here with the sun where it is. We'd still be in the shade over there. This one's going to go down here in a second. It's about to happen, folks. Y'all just tell me when you want me to pick up on that line. It's bouncing around. I can't tell if he's just in the line or if he's got it. The line ain't moved yet, like side to side or anything. Let's just try picking up and see if there's any weight on it there. I'm gonna pick up real gentle. Nope, he ain't got it. I guess his tail was just hitting that line as he was rooting around in that pack bait. But I mean, you know, places like this, Backwater Creek, now I've talked about this in other videos that I've done carp fishing. You want to know what my favorite thing about this style of fishing is? It's the fact that I'm filming this on a weekend. I passed by a bunch of boats on the way up the main river channel here to get up here this morning. You know how many we're going to see back in here today? Hopefully none. And if we do see one, it's a kayak or a small john boat. A big boat, these guys with big 20-something foot long catfish boats, they wouldn't be coming back in here anyway. But even like a glitter rocket bass boat, they can't get through the areas that I got through to get back up in here. So we're gonna have this place to ourselves today. This is like an untapped resource back here, man. It's just, this is our own private fishery today, basically. And you can find all kinds of places like this, these backwater creeks that you just go way back up into, that most of your larger boats can't get into, and most of your fishermen just don't want to go into because they're not carp fishing. So You can get in some places that are just beautiful places, beautiful areas, and have them completely to yourself. I mean, a weekend in the spring here in East Tennessee, it is prime time boating season, not only from the bass tournaments, but the pleasure boaters, they're out too, casual fishermen, they're out, jet skis. And we're in an area here completely secluded, just us, nature, and some awesome fish. And probably some deer looking at us around here too. I saw a big, oh, here we go. I saw a bunch of deer on my way into this creek. So they're watching us from the woods up there, little peeping toms. Yeah, this one here. Oh, is this a, boy, that felt like rolling, y'all. I hope it's not a channel cat. I don't know. It felt like rolling, but he's pulling awful hard. Maybe it's a pound for pound. Oh, we got another one running. Let's set this one back because I'm not convinced that's a carp. Let's see what we got here on this one. I'll tighten down a little more on him. This one here in the hand, he is a carp for sure. The other one over there, it may be a channel cat. I do catch a fair number of channel cats when I'm carp fishing. They will eat the corn. I've caught them on other grocery store baits, like I've experimented with stuff. I was using cherry tomatoes last year or year before, putting them on a rig. I got them eaten by both carp and catfish. I've used things like lima beans. I've had catfish eat them. Like you get them channel cats, man. And they'll be in the shallows too with the carp oftentimes. They'll eat anything. I ain't saying for sure that's a channel cat over there, but it felt like he was rolling. This one in the hand though, it's a carp. And it would be awesome if it was another mirror carp. Let me speak that out to the universe again, Oprah Winfrey style. I don't even know what happened to Oprah Winfrey. I think she had her TV show for the longest time. It used to come on about 4 o'clock. My grandma watched it every day. I had 2 grandmas. One I'd stay with. She'd watch them Oprah Winfrey and stuff. The other one would watch wrestling. I'll let you take a guess which one I preferred staying with. I learned a lot about cuss words and learned how to be a wrestling fan from my great grandma, but I don't know whatever happened to old Oprah Winfrey. She had a TV show, and I think she had a magazine and then a TV network, and you know, she might be dead now for all I know. I don't keep up with her life. Boy, I thought this one was going to turn out to be bigger than he is. I'm telling you, buddy, this one was a heck of a run for its size. You know, and it's every bit of 5 pounds, 5, 6, 7 pounds probably, maybe a little more. Come here, carp, but don't splash me neither. You're big, but you ain't big enough to get no front camera time. I'm just gonna pop that hook right there. I can get hold of it. There we go, just like that. That's one thing about these small hooks. Oh, Lord, fish. He's splashing everywhere. These small hooks, easy to get out. That's why you can't set your drag too tight on that initial run, because undoubtedly them fish will just pull the hook right out their jaw on that initial surge. Let's see what this is. I'm very curious to see what we've got going on here. I think it might be a carp. It's brown. Of course, some channel cats are brown too, but it is a carp. It sure felt like a channel cat rolling though when he was first going on over there. I just had them pliers. What'd y'all do with them? Oh, they're in my pocket. Thought y'all had hid the pliers from me. Y'all trying to play pranks on me out here. You already stuck them in my seat there earlier when I was about to sit down. We're trying to get a proctologist visit today. Come here, carp. Man, these things, they are in here thick right now, buddy. Thick. There he goes. See you, buddy. Arrivederci. We'll let the YouTube subtitles try to figure out how to spell arrivederci. I sure as heck couldn't do it. Oh man, y'all, once again, we have no bait currently in the water. We got one rod out of commission. We got another two with fish we just reeled in. It's a good day, y'all. Man, it's a good day. This is awesome, y'all. I'm having fun. I hope y'all having fun. I'm having fun. And you know, here's something else I have tried in the past, and I've done it with success, is you can kind of create a bite like this by baiting an area in advance. You can go and feed carp, get them used to eating in an area, throw out things like, some people will boil up feed corn, like you buy them big sacks of deer corn there at co-ops and sporting goods stores and stuff. They're cheap. They're $10, $15 for a 50-pound bag, and they'll take it and boil it, get it soft, and feed and bait an area for a little while, and you'll get carp feeding there. You can do that, or you can take things like what I've done in the past. Oh, I got that one almost on the bank over there. I about threw that in too far. I'm a little excited right now. But one of the things I've done in the past, I got this tip from Catching Dinosaurs Alligator Gar Guide Service, was to use things like cattle cubes, which is like a cow treat and supplement, basically. It's got like molasses and various grains and proteins and stuff, and it's a block, but it dissolves down very quickly. And I had got that tip from him on his YouTube channel and social media, and he catches a lot of carp and buffalo down there in Texas by baiting areas with those cattle cubes. And I had tried it, and I'd use things like horse feed too, which is similar, just smaller pieces than the blocks there you get from the cattle cubes. But again, those things are all cheap. You can buy a 50-pound bag for 15 bucks and take you a bucket of it out on the water a few days before you trip and get carp feeding in an area, and then when you show up, there's ideally already some carp there. So that's a way to kind of create a bite before you get there with the carp. Now, the downside of doing that is you actually have to go out a day or two or multiple days in advance to bait an area. And you take a spot like this, where I'm fishing at today is a long distance away from where I launched at. So baiting an area like this that's a long haul, it's, you know, it's so time consuming. Like, is it worthwhile? You know, if you've got easy access to an area, maybe you're fishing off the bank and you got access to a creek or something, maybe a shallow cove at your local lake, and you can just swing by on your way home from work or school and throw out some feed. You know, they make various devices. They make these like scooper things where you can, they almost look like lacrosse sticks. lacrosse. I can't hardly say the word, but you know what I'm trying to say. They're like a scoop on a stick, and you can throw it long distances. Or they'll make slingshots that you can sling out, you know, handfuls of corn and stuff, and you can bait an area doing that. But places like this, when I roll into one of these creeks that I haven't baited, me as just an average layperson carp fisherman, you know, somebody, I'm not very good. I fully admit that. I'm feeling like I'm good today, because here's another one. Oh, he just pulled the hook. He was on, and is my drag tight? Oh, y'all. What's wrong with my drag? Boy, my drag is super tight. Well, there we go, y'all. That's why you keep your drag loose on that initial run. Let me just reel that in and rebait. My drag was locked down right there, and he ripped that hook right out of his mouth when he took off. No, he did more than that. He broke me off completely because I had my dang drag too tight. Well, I guess we're going to be retying regardless right now. So let's just go ahead and do that, by gosh. Crapola, man. How did I was talking, just I guess forgot to loosen that drag, because it was solid on there. It was stuck, and that fish, he pulled with all his might, and it had no give, and my line give. I can't cut that with my dang pliers. Let me find my scissors in here, and I got to find my other little baggie of, I think I got 2 or 3 extra rigs in that bag there. One of them anyway. I hope I've packed them. We're going to be in trouble if I haven't. Oh man. Are you kidding me? Did I leave them in my other kayak? That's bank fish and catfish rigs. There's some dragging rigs. There's some suspend fishing rigs. There they are. Okay. I need to clean this out, man. I got mess everywhere here in this dang kayak. Crisis averted, y'all. Let's get us another hot pink one here and put on too. This is tangled up here, but I usually I'll throw 2 or 3 in a sandwich baggie. And if they get tangled up, it ain't a big deal. Ain't real time consuming to get them undone, you know. And they're already ready to go. Again, all I gotta do here, tie 1 knot, and we're back in the game. But I was trying to say, before that fish decided to get him a hook, he'll try to, I don't even know what a carp would trade that hook for. He'll be at the pawn shop trying to get him something for it, I guarantee it. But I was trying to say, me, just an average wannabe carp fisherman, don't really know what the hell I'm doing. If I'm pulling up into a creek that I'm going to be fishing at, and I'm trying to figure out where I want to set up, one of the things that I will do is look for carp. You know, have my polarized sunglasses on and look for carp activity, whether you see the fish or you see, I call them burnouts, where you spook them and you'll see like a little dust cloud where they've bolted along the bottom and stirred up the mud. I'll look for areas that kind of have fish. Or, just from my limited experience, a day like today, I come back in this creek because I have fished here in years past, and I know with the water down right now, you're gonna have all this grass exposed, and with the water raising up, you're gonna have all this submerged grass that these fish are gonna probably try to be in here and just nosing around, try to get them some worms, bugs, any of them plant roots or whatever. And possibly, I thought maybe we might see some spawning activity today in this grass. So I come in here to this area today just kind of looking for this type of an area in a creek. But if you just keep your eyes peeled and these creeks and coves, if you can walk along the shoreline if you're bank fishing or if you got a kayak or a boat, and you can just kind of stand up as you make your way along with polarized glasses on and look down in the water, you'll kind of see places where fish are concentrated. And like I said, you may spook them when you go in. You may. But if you'll give it a little time, go ahead and bait that area, cast your lines out, throw some bait in that area, and give it a little while. They'll usually come back to where they were feeding at before you spooked them. And you can get on them that way without having to go out and bait an area in advance. If you can bait an area in advance, that will help your cause tremendously. But you know, it just ain't always practical in every situation. Let's me and you, let's just go ahead and, while we got these rigs out, let's go ahead and tie on another one here for this other rod, and just we'll have it ready to go. Y'all remind me when I get home today, I need to put some more rigs. Oh, my gosh, that one got hit while I had my back turned. I thought I was gonna tie on a rig real quick. Has he got it coming at us? I think he does. He's got it coming at us. Boy, he's all the way over here on the other shoreline, man. I didn't think I was ever gonna catch up with him. I was beginning to wonder if he didn't take my whole rig or something. He was coming, he couldn't wait to get on this camera. He said, I'll just come over here and swim right to you, Justin. Boy, it's a wonder he didn't just swim right over here all the way to the bank. I thought, I was thinking for a second when I wasn't catching up with him, I'm like, he stole the whole rig. Did I tie a lousy knot? Like, what's up? Yeah, don't let me forget when I get home today, y'all. I gotta put some more rigs in the kayak. I've got a spare bedroom closet with a rack in there. And when I get them done in the winter, I just hang them from that rack, the way they don't get all tangled and stuff. And then whenever I need some, I'll just stick them in a sandwich baggie and stick them in the kayak, and then I've got me some rigs ready to roll. One knot, if a turtle gets us, if a carp wants a souvenir, we're one knot away from being back in the game. If you quit flopping around, carp, we'd be back in the game even sooner. It's another smaller one here on the hot pink corn. The color of your, no, there we go. Boy, he got mud all up my arm, man. Oh, carp, what'd you do me like that for? I'm gonna take a bath today. That fish says I need to take a bath every day. The color of the corn, I don't know if it matters or not, honestly. I've caught fish on numerous colors. I've tried the yellow and hot pink, obviously, we've caught fish on today, but I've tried green, I've tried white, I've tried orange. You know, and obviously my other baits I've used, like the cherry tomatoes, for instance, they're red. The lima beans are a different color of green I've used. Like, I don't know that it matters, especially when they're active like they are today. But it seems to me like Yellow would be the most obvious color because you get them coming in eating the real corn that's in your pack bait. And so if you've got yellow pieces of plastic corn, then it seems like that would be just a natural, you know, I think I may have bent that hook. Bend that thing a little bit, taking it out of that fish. No, maybe not. It seems like that would be a natural thing, you know. A carp allegedly have good eyesight. I don't know if I read that somewhere or heard that somewhere, but in my mind, carp have good eyesight. So they can apparently see what they're eating on and stuff. Let's try to tie this rig on real quick while we can, if these fish will let us. It's time for that other rod over there to go down now. We may not use this other rod again today, but if we break off on one of our others, at least it'll be ready to go. And we won't have to worry about it. I'm just doing a little trilene knot, clinch knot, whatever you want to call it. Easy to tie knot that I've been using my whole life. Works well for most things. I use it on my ultralight fishing, tying jigs on. I use it for this, obviously. I tie my catfish rigs, I tie a no-knot snail from my leader line to my catfish hook. But the leader line to the swivel and then my main line to the swivel, I use this knot here that I just did. So, we got one rig left here in that bag, so I definitely got to add some rigs to this kayak here. Okay. Boy, y'all, while we got a second, I'm gonna get a swig of Gatorade here. Wet the whistle. Got a little parched here on all this reeling in fish. All right. Boy, we've been at this now. This is a lot of fish for an hour and a half, y'all. It don't feel like it's been that long, but this is quite a bit of fish. This is a lot of action. This was, you know, again, I thought it might take 30 minutes to an hour to get the first bite, and I was concerned doing this raw and uncut video if I didn't get bit. If it took 45 minutes, an hour to get a first bite, like, am I going to be able to keep anybody engaged? And here we are, an hour and a half in, and already got a ton of action. We'll tighten that line a little bit. So yeah, y'all, like this is pretty awesome, man. Now again, action or not, will anybody click on this type of video? I don't know, we'll see. You all ultimately drive the bus on this channel. Like, you know, sometimes I get people complaining that I'm doing this style of fishing or this type of video and stuff, and it's like, y'all vote with your clicks. You know what I mean? Like, if nobody watches something, then I know it ain't worth putting out. Don't do it anymore. But when people watch, like, I'll get people complaining my unedited videos are too long, but yet they're the best performing videos on my channel by a mile. So that tells me the bulk of the audience is voting that they like it and they want more of it. So we'll see how this video does. If y'all like it, this style of fishing, I'll be out here doing more unedited carp videos. If not, I'm gonna be doing some carp fishing regardless. But maybe I'll just stick to some shorter edited videos, come out, catch enough fish for a 20-minute video and then turn the camera off and enjoy myself the rest of the day type thing. That's what I did on my last carp fishing trip that I'd actually got on some. I caught some fish right away. I mean, it was kind of about like this where it was just on. And after a few fish, I was like, well, hell, this is gonna be a long video. And I knew, you know, it was gonna be edited video. I was like, I'm just gonna I'm gonna turn the camera off. I'm just gonna kick back and not fool with filming, you know, just spend the rest of the time out there just enjoying myself off camera. So, you know, if this video idea flops, if I get if I don't get any views or, you know, a bunch of negative feedback on it, I just won't do it anymore. Ain't no skin off my back. I'm gonna fish how I want to fish when I want to fish. You know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna do what I want to do on this channel. But as far as type of videos and stuff, y'all drive the bus, just like this fish is trying to drive off with our hook here. Here we go. We got another one. I kind of want to, you know, I'd thrown this one out there, trying to get closer to the grass over there. We'll see when we get him in. I may, since this other rod ain't been hit in a little while, I may reel it in and rebait and try to get it more here in the middle of this, where it's just a little bit deeper. I mean, we don't have a ton of depth in here regardless, you know. But I may throw it out a little bit deeper and just see if we don't get maybe a better quality carp. I mean, we've had a couple good ones, but most of them have been in that kind of 5 poundish, 5 to 7 pound range, which I ain't complaining about, man. I like catching them, especially on these lighter action catfish rods here. They are fun and they fight hard. But we do know, just from the fact that we've got a couple, that there are some better quality carp in this creek right now. Don't know how many, but they are in here, obviously. And so we may throw out here just a shorter toss here and a little bit deeper water, maybe get it there in 3 foot maybe, instead of a few inches over there. I think this one's going to be another one here that's mad at us for sure, but I think he's probably going to be in that smaller range. He says, Justin, I'll show you. He says, I'll make you think small. He's another common. I'd like to get another mirror carp today, man. They're just kind of they're just one of them fish, man. Some bodies of water have more of them than others. Some creeks I've noticed will have more of them than others. But to just go out and target a mirror carp, there's not really anything different you can do. They're eating the same things in the same places as their cousins here. I mean, and a mirror carp is basically just a common with I think it's like a different gene or something there with the scales. Somebody will educate me for sure. The carp experts on my channel, but like Del Hollow Lake, for instance, they're kind of like a world-renowned fishery for having large mirror carp. Like, people come from all over the world to fish Del Hollow just for the size of their mirror carp. Now, I've not done any carp fishing there. Listen, carp, you're getting a muddy mess here now. I'm trying to help you out. Oh, Lord. Y'all, I got a mouthful of mud. He got me right in the kisser. Boy, I could have done with it. I could have done without that fish. That was uncalled for. Now, I'm trying to do you a service here, get you a... Oh, boy, he's done it again, y'all. I thought this would be a quick release here on this thing, but there we go. Fish, I should have just netted you. He's a little bigger than I thought he was. He's still trying to splash me here on the way out. Go on, fish. Oh, Lord almighty, y'all. I got splashed in the kisser, man. I bet he got water all over y'all, too. We got to take a second here before we rebait. Let me find a dry spot here. Wipe my mouth off. Did he get y'all? How do you all keep from getting wet? I think he got like one little drop here on the screen. I got water and mud and everything else all over me, and y'all, these fish like y'all better than they like me, that's for dang sure. It's fun though, man. I'm having a good time, even if I am getting a little bit of a mud bath. I may have just got a mouthful of mud and daggone duck and goose poop, but I'm having a good time. I need to take this towel here. I gotta wipe. Let me get this camera out of the way a second here, y'all. I gotta wipe the side of my neck and my face. You got me good, man. I got mud up here, up under the dang camera mount, man. He got all that fish, and yet somehow he didn't get water or mud all over the lens, all over y'all's faces there. I don't know how he didn't do it. Ornery old devil. Well, I'm gonna cast this one back out toward the bank over there. I'm gonna reel this one in, rebait it, and we're gonna toss it out here, shorter distance away, try to get it in a little bit deeper water, and just see if that'll help us at all. It may not. We may not get any bites on it. We may get better quality. We may get the same size. We'll see. This one here, I'm not putting a big glob at this point, just enough to kind of cover the wires. At this point now, we know, as my foot sticks, break an ankle. We know we got fish over yonder. It's working through that area. We've cast out numerous times. There's no reason to be, at this point, to be putting on like a huge baseball-sized glob of pack bait on over there. There's no reason for it. I didn't get that one quite as far as I wanted, but that's all right. They'll find it. Okay, tighten that line up a little bit. Let's reel this one in. Yeah, I'm having fun today, y'all. This is, I'd kind of had a little confidence problem with me getting skunked the first couple trips of the year, and then going down there on Chickamauga and seeing them fish and still couldn't get any to bite. Getting that one fish on that particular day, like I'd had my confidence hurt a little bit, but I'm feeling pretty good today. I'm feeling half accomplished out here. All right, light toss right there. See what that does for us. It'll either catch fish or it won't. Got the wind all of a sudden picking up, blowing these lines around. I want to keep these lines kind of tight. That way we can see if a fish has got his tail hitting the line and stuff. A lot of these carp fishermen, especially the bank guys, they're using rod pods, and they've got these I'm drawing a blank on what they're called. They're alarm systems, basically. They lay their rods on these rod pods and connect their line and these alarms, and when a fish pulls, they're not feeling any tension. They're using like bait runner spinning reels, so the fish can run, feel no tension on the line, and that thing will alarm and let a person know there's a fish on. Personally, my buddy Dewey gave me some, and I've honestly never used them because when I pull up on an area, even today where I've got the kayak pulled up on the bank, and I had brought my power poles and my anchor poles and all that today because I wasn't sure coming out here water leveling off, if I was going to be able to access the bank or if I was going to have to just use the poles and anchor down. But when I do this, I just put my rods in my rod holders and loosen my drag, and I feel like I'm getting a high enough percentage of hookups that I don't need to fool with all that specialized gear. It's just more stuff to carry, more batteries to charge and replace. You know, I don't want to fool with it. I want to try to keep things simple as I can. It's bad enough I've added the damn power poles and anchor poles and all that, you know. I have to do that. I got those there because I was, when the water's up, there's a lot of places that you just look around here, you know. Like the trees come right up, well, to come up to the water's edge, you won't be able to have bank access like right now. And so I'd work in these creeks and have nowhere to set up on. And so that's why I got those. But I really want to keep things as simple as possible as far as the setup, you know, like I want to keep things as easy and simple as I possibly can, and just sticking rods in the rod holder is about as simple as it gets. And so unless I have an issue with just missing fish constantly, I'm just gonna keep doing things like I am, you know. I'm not gonna bust out them rod pod things. So, and I don't fish, like if I was just bank fishing exclusively, I would consider it. But with me, when I do bank fish, it's always situations like today where I've accessed the bank spot with the kayak, where I can pull the kayak up and then have the access to my rod holders. Like if I was just driving down to the lake in my car and getting out on the riverbank, then something like that would be more practical because I would need a place to put my rods anyway. So that's my thought on that. I ain't telling you what to do though. I mean, again, there's a lot of people out there that believe in them things. That guide that I'd fished with for the buffalo down there in Texas a couple years back, he got a, what are them things called? Blowback rigs, I think, drop back rigs. He was basically able to figure out not only if a fish picked up his bait and ran with it, but also if a fish picked up his bait and caused slack in the line. Because apparently the buffalo will do that. They'll hit and then the line will go slack. And so, situation like we're doing here today using rod holders, if we're not watching the rods, we're gonna watch this one go down. Here we go again. Here we go again, y'all. But if you weren't watching the rods, you wouldn't necessarily know a line had got slack in it. He's splashing around over there, did you see him? He's kicking up some water, buddy. He's telling his friends, don't come this way. He ought to be calling them in. Now's the time for them to go over there and eat them crumbs and stuff when there ain't no hook in the water. Except for the one that's dangling from that turtle's foot. And if a fish comes up to that turtle, trying to eat off his foot, he's gonna get eaten by the turtle. I promise you, that turtle will go Cobra Kai on these fish, no mercy. That turtle makes a living eating fish. That's how he survives. This one's wound up, buddy. It's another one though that's probably in that 5-pound range, I think. He said he's 5 pounds of dynamite, buddy. I wonder if it'd be easier. I'm bringing them up on the shore over here, and we're getting mud bath every time. I wonder if I couldn't just release them a little deeper here in the water. You think that might be, I might, instead of getting muddy, I might just get wet trying this. We'll figure out a system here eventually, folks. When I'm fishing in the kayak with like the anchor poles and stuff, I'm forced to net fish and actually bring them in. Then they flop around and act a fool and hit my graph and everything else. So I'd like to release these smaller ones that we don't necessarily want a picture with. I'd like to release them here in the water if we can. Easy fish, easy. Probably better on the fish too, honestly. There we go. That one went a lot smoother right there. He's trying to sweep the leg on the way out though. I told you that fish was all about some Cobra Kai, man. No mercy. I saw a thing the other day on the interweb, but apparently it's about time for season. I guess the Hollywood strike there last year slowed everything down on the movies and TV shows, so we've been waiting forever on Cobra Kai season 6, but it's finally gonna come out this year apparently. About dang time. That's one of the best shows that's come out in years. It's got everything, nostalgia, action, it's got it all, man. Let's cast this back. So, we've had one on our other line right here, y'all. My line is plumb slack. We're gonna pick up on that in a minute. I think we got another one on right there. Let's launch that one over there. Loosen our drag again. Now let's see what we got going on here. Oh, hello fish, there you are. I thought you was on there when I saw that slack. Uh-huh. This one here, we had out just a little bit deeper water. And we're gonna see what the quality of fish is like in it as my stomach growls. Y'all might hear that on the microphone. I did not eat any. Since one of us hit the snooze a little too many times this morning, I did not have time to grab any breakfast on the way. I'm not a big breakfast eater anyway, but it had been a while. I had an earlier dinner last night, went up to Pigeon Forge with the girlfriend. We ate at the local goat restaurant up there. Excellent, by the way. If you're ever up there in Pigeon Forge vacationing or something, highly recommend it. You wait forever to get a table, but boy, it's good. We went up there and played tourist for a day, rode a mountain coaster, played putt-putt. I won, by the way. I'd go Cobra Kai on bowling and putt-putt too, by gosh, no mercy. I'm there to win. So I beat her at some putt-putt, and then we went to the local goat and had a fantastic meal. Highly recommend that place. Again, you go up there, you're gonna wait 30 minutes to an hour minimum to get a table. But boy, it's good. This fish here is a little better quality, folks. The line that was cast out just a smidge deeper here. Same, I mean, this creek ain't wide or nothing. A wave at the geese, they're heading back. But now we've got a little better quality fish. I don't know that I don't think I want to get a picture with him necessarily, but I may try to get a hold of him. Let's net this one. Let's net this in here and get a better look at him and see if I want a picture with him or not. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and give him a little front camera time. Oh Lord, the geese are back. Wave again, y'all. They can't figure out where the heck they're going. I'm telling you, folks, like this one, man. You look at them, you think, well, that's a little bigger. And then you get it in the dang net and you're like, holy cow, that's a lot bigger than I thought. I've got my kayak a muddy mess getting in and out of here in this mud, but man, y'all, that's a pretty good fish right there. I'm gonna set you up here. Take a picture with you. Camera phone there, would you? May get one of this fish here. There we go. What? I mean, yeah, we just cast back out here, short cast, kind of getting into the deeper water, and boom, well, now we've got a better quality fish. Maybe we'll put it back over there again, by gosh. We'll see what else we can get out of there. This one's a pretty good one. You'll see here as soon as I get him unhooked. Okay, let me get that hook out the way. Put my pliers over here out the way. Boy, he's actually being calm for a second too. How about that? Nice, man. Not as big as our biggest, but that's a quality fish nonetheless. We got another one going down right here. I gotta cut your time short here. Fish, we got another one on. We can't keep 2 lines in the water right now, man. We'll see you, buddy. He gone. This is awesome, man. What a day. What a day. They're in here, buddy. I guarantee you they're gonna be spawning here very, very soon. There's too many of them in here right now. Water coming up. All these fish in here. You know what we may do? If this one here turns out to be another smaller one, and right now he's feeling that way, we may throw this one out a little deeper too. You know, throw it obviously this direction, but make a shorter cast where it's more in the old kind of original creek channel. It's a little deeper. Maybe the juveniles are kind of working up there in the shallows, and maybe the bigger ones are just kind of in the old creek channel. It's a little deeper and they're working farther back up in this creek maybe. I don't know. But either way, I know we just threw one out a little deeper a minute ago and then we had a better quality fish, so. Get your pliers, y'all. Let's see if we can get this one unhooked quick. We got an experiment around here. This fish says he ain't gonna be a part of no experiment. He ain't signing up for that. He's a little better than some of them we've been getting off that shoreline over there, but not as big as his friend we just landed. And that may be total coincidence. We just got that better quality fish a minute ago too. Total coincidence possibly. But we're gonna find out. Oh, hey, quit. Wait a minute, fish. There you go. Yeah, maybe not bringing them up on the bank's the smart thing to do. I ain't getting the old mud bath. Okay. Hey, y'all. This remains awesome out here, buddy. This is going awesome. I ain't even got to tell you it's no stories today. I may have to save my stories for the next catfish trip where we got a little bit more downtime. I got a few to tell. There's been so much action in this, and these fish today, they said they didn't want me telling no stories. These carp, they've heard how controversial I am apparently. It's amazing. I've had some people get mad at me in these raw and uncut videos lately with some of the things I've said that honestly, I mean, I don't feel are even, I'm not trying to be controversial. I mean, I'm just telling stories and stuff. But I mean, just angry, visceral reaction comments over stuff I've said. Like, who knew I was one of the most controversial people on the planet? I promise you folks, you may not like me. I don't know why the hell you're watching if you don't. But there's far worse people on this planet than me. If you're that tore up about my stories and things I've said, buddy, I wouldn't leave your house if I was you, because there's some real characters out there way worse than me. This kayak is a muddy mess, y'all. I may have to wash this thing. I think I'm gonna go back down to Chickamauga tomorrow. I was on a real good bite there in the morning hours, and I ended up going and fishing an afternoon session because it had rained. I was gonna go My last catfish video, probably the last video y'all saw that came out from my regular viewers, I talked about going back the next day to catfish down there at Chickamauga, and I did. But I didn't go in the morning because it was raining, pouring down rain that morning. I fished the afternoon, I didn't do no good. So my bite that I've been on catfishing lately is about like 8:30 in the morning, it seems like when it's kind of getting started, up to about 10:30, 11 o'clock. It's when I'm getting my better quality fish lately. Just try to toss that one out there. A little deeper water too. So anyway, I'd like to go back down there tomorrow. I may possibly fish with Ryan Bortz on video. I don't know if he's going to fish with me there on video. He's going to be down there unless something changes today with his plans. But he may go do his own thing because he likes to drag and I like to suspend. And so those two styles, trying to fish on video together, don't really, it's hard to do, you know, it's hard to get two people on the same video that's doing such widely different things. But he was going to hook me up with some bait because he was going to, unless something's changed with his plans, he was going to drive down there this afternoon, get us some bait, and then he was going to fish tomorrow morning and then get some more bait and then go back home to Kentucky with the bait he caught, which will be a big help to me if he was still going to get bait, because I need to get some bait. I'm going down there tomorrow regardless, but I need some bait. And I got plans this afternoon. My buddy Mark Naraki, he owns Deuce's Wild Fishing Charters. His son Ace is a welder, and I have tore up my kayak trailer. I backed it off. You know, in the winter months here, again, TVA, they drop our water level down really low, and a lot of our boat ramps are just, when the water's that shallow, you get off the end of the ramp and there's just a big drop off, or the concrete's all busted and stuff, you know. And so I had used a ramp recently when the water was down really low, and I had never used that launch before when the water was that low. And I walked down there and looked at it, and it looked okay. I thought I was good. But I backed my trailer down and I heard kerplunk. And I had went off about a 2 or 3 foot drop there on the concrete, and my wheels had went off and I had landed on the frame. And fortunately, my kayak trailer, it's just an old jet ski trailer, so I mean, it's a lightweight trailer. And so I'm able to, once the kayak's off it, I could just pick up the trailer and move it where I needed to, you know, get down in the water and lift it up and move it. And anyway, I said a lot of cuss words, yada, yada, yada. Got everything situated, drove home, everything, and I was going to charge my batteries that night, and I noticed my damn frame, the crossbar that took the big impact when the trailer hit, it had bent and cracked. And so I've been using the trailer because the way my kayak sits on trailer, the previous owner that I got that trailer from had put these steel beams across. I think it's called Unistrut, I think, and used U-bolts to attach those on so that you could then put the PVC bunks to slide your kayak on and off. And so those Unistrut pieces going across kind of give the trailer frame, you know, a little bit more rigidity. And of course the kayak, you know, I don't have a lot of weight on that trailer anyway. So even though that one piece was cracked, well, the wind's blowing my dang kayak around here a little bit. Even though that piece was cracked, I thought I'd be okay. But the last few times just driving that trailer and I guess just bouncing on the road and stuff, potholes and all that, because Tennessee roads are amazing, that crack is getting worse and worse. So I'm gonna take it over to Mark's place this afternoon, and Ace is gonna take a look at it and weld it up and fix it for me. So I gotta do that this afternoon. So just knowing how I am, I'll probably, even if it don't take I don't think it'll take him very long to do it, but you know, just knowing how I am, I'll probably sit over there and flap my gums a little while, and so may cut into my time that I could potentially be catching bait this afternoon. And the fish I've been getting down there in Chickamauga, man, I tried skipjack and I've tried white bass, and the skipjack is far outperforming right now. So I definitely want to be loaded up on skipjack if I'm gonna make that drive. So hopefully Ryan is gonna be able to go down there today like he had planned on, and he said he'd hook me up with a little baits there tomorrow morning, and him and I will you'll either be seeing him and I fish on video together, or you'll be seeing me and I'll point in the direction that he was going if he's going out doing his own thing, dragging or whatever. This line here, I don't know if it's the wind blowing. I think we got a fish here around it. It's about to take off again, man, it is. We're hooked up again, y'all. Now he wants to run. Now he wants to go. Oh, we had a slow start to that fight. I had thrown this one out that direction, but in a little bit deeper section of that creek. We're gonna try that for a little while and just see if it don't help our cause. Either way, right now, it don't seem to matter where we throw. There's so many dang fish in here, they're gonna find it. And you know, we had a little flow in this creek. Now the wind is kicking up. I didn't think it was gonna kick up today. But it's kicking up a little bit. So just that wind movement on the water will get things stirred up too. And when these carp, here's another thing to think about. When that carp's over there eating around that chum pile and gets that plastic corn there with the hook, and he bolts, his tail is kicking up all them crumbs and stuff and spreading them out too. So that's another thing right there to consider, like that's helping spread our scent and all that. This has been a pretty incredible morning here. Oh, that one's getting hit too. He's on it, he's got it, he's got it. Okay, he's taking off that way. Okay, good. We don't want them running lines around each other, or circles around each other. You just keep going that way, fish. I'm gonna get control of this one up here, and I'll come over there and get you. I can't get these people at home right now watching. They won't lift a finger to help me. Y'all could be reeling that fish in right now. Y'all are heck of a fishing partner, y'all. Okay, this is a common right here. He's in that 5 to 7 pound range probably. Let's tighten down on this. Yeah, I could use some help here, y'all. It's a good thing I put that third rod up. We'd have 3, 4, however many rods you put out right now, I bet you we could have some fish hitting them. There's just so many dang fish in here. But you tell me what else you can do where you can go out, have a place to yourself on public water, and catch the number of 5 to 10 pound fish that we've caught out here in a couple hours. I mean, you just don't get this kind of action with other species in these conditions. You know, you can have some good days catfishing and replicate a bite like this, but bass, panfish, you know, you ain't gonna be able to replicate this size of fish with the frequency that we've got out here this morning on most species, man. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna come over here on this side, because if I bring him on this other side of the kayak, we'll have his friend over here will be happy to see him, and they'll go up and embrace and hug, and we'll have lines tangled. Come here, fish. You another one that I ain't gonna get a picture with, but I will give you a quick release here in the water, if you'll allow me. Come here, fish. There you go. Boom shakalaka. That's what people used to say in the 90s. A little throwback there. Those of you old enough to remember the 90s. Got that hook there in the side of the reel. Okay. Let's get fish number one now. He said he got gypped. He was fish number one. First come, first serve. He should have been the first one released. He'll be filing a complaint. Probably write me a 3-page essay in the comment box like some of these other people. Though it ain't just here. It ain't just that people complain in the comment box. Like, I see social media. I mean, it's what people do. People all unhappy, miserable with their lives, they're gonna complain. But it's the time they put in on these essays that is most mind-boggling to me. Like, I mean, I've had some long essays written over stuff that I have said on these unedited videos. It's just me telling stories about what goes on in my life. I'm like, why does that spark such a reaction from people that's not even involved in it, you know? Such a visceral reaction. Like, I don't get it. This one here is a better fish than I initially thought, but he's still not going to be. We're not giving you no front camera time, fish. I want to get lines back out. Let me get hold of this sinker here. Oh, well, he got tired of waiting on me. He said he'll just do it his dang self. But folks, right now, we're running the hot pink rig and the yellow rig, both of them. They're getting hit very quickly after we get lines out, man. It don't matter what color of the hook bait we're using. They're just in here and they are feeding up, man. I'm just gonna put another small amount around. So, I mean, you can see, I think I showed that bag of feed there, or pack bait, this morning here when we got started. Like 4 cans of panko, half a box of Jello, 2 cans of corn. So you're looking at less than $10 right there for everything. And if you went to the dollar store or maybe like every town's different. We got like a bargain barn or something like that. You know, a discounted grocery store. If you went to a place like that, you may be able to get this stuff even cheaper. But like, we've had a lot of fish now on basically $10 worth of bait, and I've still got, look there, we still got, just under half of it left. And I could probably here use even less at this point. I could probably use even less around our feeders at this point, since we've got so many fish here and we've got them feeding and all. I probably don't even need to put on as much as I am. So that would just help conserve it and make it last even longer. And this stuff, when you make it, it'll last for several days. Like, you can, let's say you don't use all that today, but you're gonna be fishing a few days from now. It'll keep, put it in a Ziploc bag like that, or a box of some kind, plastic box, something you can seal it, and it'll last for days. You put it in the refrigerator, it'll last a little longer. Sometimes I'll just leave it in the back of my car or in the kayak. Well, I've learned not to leave it in the kayak, Because let me tell you what, buddy, last year, year before one, I can't remember, a squirrel, a possum, a coon, something, got in my kayak and shredded that bag, and I had pack bait everywhere. I had ants everywhere. I've stopped leaving it in the kayak now. But like, I'll leave it in my car and it'll bake in the sun, you know, and after a while you'll start getting mold, like it'll get moldy. But I've caught fish with moldy pack bait. I got video on my channel doing it. So I mean, it'll keep for several days if you don't end up using it all on one trip. And if you're not expecting to be able to fish very long or what, you know, you can make less of it. I'm using 4 cans, but there's been times where I've used 2 cans. 2 cans of panko, 1 can of corn, and a little less Jello, you know. So I mean, just adjust it to make however much you need. I wanted to make a big batch today, obviously, in case we got on some fish. I wanted to make sure I had enough for our session here. But it's an inexpensive way. I mean, if you're gonna buy bait, these guys at the bait shops around here, the catfish or the tackle shops that's selling catfish bait, holy cow, a one single skipjack at the local tackle shops run you $7 to $8 for one skipjack that you're gonna get 3 baits out of, maybe 4. For that same money, you can almost buy you a whole bag of carp bait that'll last you a full day. So value-wise, I think it's a pretty good deal. And as far as your gear goes, I mean, you don't have to use fancy tackle for carp. I mean, you really don't. I used just bass rods there when I was kind of first getting into it, and those worked. I mean, you know, the stiffer tips, I threw pack bait off more frequently. They didn't really have the backbone I needed to kind of be able to more easily handle the larger fish. These rods are much more suited for the size of fish and what I'm doing, but like, you know, you can get by with just whatever tackle you have, whatever catfish rods you have, or bass rods, or bait rods, you know, whatever. Just tie you on. And those Amazon feeders there, I got a link from my description. I haven't bought any in a while, but I think they were like $15 for $15 or something like that. They're about $1 a piece the last time I bought them. But if you don't want to use those, you don't have to. I have videos on my channel just using, here we go again. Boy, it ain't taking long, y'all. Even with 2 rods, it ain't taking long. That was a short cast right out here. Right there in that deeper water. Deeper water, not deep, but just deeper, just 2 or 3 feet deep right there. But I've got videos on my channel of me using corn on a hook. Just throwing out handfuls of corn, like an area like this. Or you can throw a good ways, like physically with my hand, not using any device or anything, slingshot or nothing, but just physically tossing out cans of corn and then putting kernels of corn on a hook and tossing it out with a little sinker, and I've caught fish. These rigs here work better, but you can keep it super simple and super cheap and be able to go catch carp. I think out here right now, man, you could throw out about what, there's just so many in here. It's got to be about time for the spawn. It's got to be. To get this many fish working up here. I've lost count of how many. I wasn't counting anyway, but I've lost count of how many we've got here this morning. Yes, and here's another one. We've caught so many, we're spoiled at this point. We ain't as impressed. Get out of that other line here, carp. I'm hitting my other line with my rod tip as I'm trying to get hold of you. Now that we've gotten spoiled with the number of fish we've caught, we're being a little bit snobby and we're trying to improve our quality, and he just, oh, you dang, I grabbed my method feeder and he broke my line. I think this I can't remember the pound test on that, the pre-tied hooks right there. I can't remember the pound test. It's not very much though. And he thrashed, and I had a firm grip on the hold there of my method feeder, and it just cost me a fish. It cost me a hook, I should say. Dadgummit. Well, we already got this one tied on, so I hate that though. I don't like leaving hooks and fish like that. And I don't like losing rigs. The double whammy. We've went through some rigs today, man. That's 3 now. Gotta get it together here. Okay. Put some more on. We're gonna throw it over there in the deeper water again. Work around that rod. I just stood up right there. That's all we need is to hit it. All right. Y'all back in the game. I got your rods cast back out. Oh, here we go behind us. Set that one down. He hit it. He still got it. He's just swimming. He's coming at us, buddy. Oh, and he come free. He was coming at us, and I never could catch up with him. He spit it. Boy, now we've broke a hook off and lost one. Better get it together, y'all. We had a good run this morning, and we ain't been getting, I'm gonna jinx it by saying it, but we ain't been getting tangles or nothing. These fish ain't been running us around no pieces of wood or debris out there like we've had it made. But now we're having a little bit of misfortune. Threw that one a little farther over there than I wanted to. Okay. Whoo, y'all. These fish have, oh boy, I about done it then. I'm gonna fall yet, y'all. Okay. Boy, I tell you, y'all, what a day, man. That's a lot of fish. I've lost count. I wasn't trying to keep up with it, but it's been several fish for the short time we've been out here, and especially now that we've dropped down to 2 rods even, like, this has been a good day. I'm having a good time with this. I'm telling you, man, if you give carp fishing a chance, throw out what you think about carp. Because, I mean, I was brainwashed from a young age, too, on thinking they're trash fish. I perpetuated that nonsense. I'd make fun of carp fishermen, you know. I was part of the problem. And then I gave it a shot. And boy, it changed my mind on them. So I think if you do the same thing, you'll learn to like it. And it'll open up a whole world of possibilities for you. Cheap bait, simple gear. Days where maybe you just want to get away from people. Come back in a place like this, middle of nowhere. A lot of boats can't even get back here if they wanted to. You can have a place to yourself, man. Just you and some carp. Maybe a buffalo if you're lucky. Maybe a mirror if you're lucky. But I mean, you know, today, however many fish we've got, we've only got the 1 mirror. So it's small percentage of carp get whatever that gene or whatever that causes them to look the way they do. But 1 out of however many we got, man, that's a small percentage. I hope we get some more though. I'd really like to get a buffalo too. I wish, I had hoped to get better at buffalo. You know, I went down there to Texas there a couple years back and fished with that guide who's world renowned. Like, he's known as being like the best buffalo fisherman in the world. And we just had, I learned a lot from him just asking him questions and stuff. But I didn't develop a lot of confidence from the trip because we done so poorly. I mean, fished with him 3 days and just didn't do any good. Got a million channel cats, but we just didn't do any good. So I didn't come home. I come home with knowledge from having picked his brain. Is this rod here is going down again? Is he coming at us here too? Yep, he is. He is. He's coming. He was coming at us. But I didn't come home with confidence, you know what I mean? And since then, I just ain't been able to really go out and specifically target buffalo with any kind of consistency or success. I will catch them while carp fishing occasionally. But like, if you told me I had to go out today and catch a buffalo, boy, if my life depended on it, I'm probably a goner, because I don't know that I could make it happen. Y'all, this one right here may be the smallest one of the morning. This one right here is smaller than what you normally catch carp fishing. You're lucky, fish. I got half a mind to throw you in the cooler. Even as small as he is, he's probably still a 3-4 pounder. I mean, he'd be a chore to get cut up. You're lucky, fish. I'm gonna let you go. I had half a mind to try to keep you, but I don't want to fool trying to cut you. Can I have my hook, please, and thank you? Give me my hook, please, and thank you, sir. Now you done got my line wrapped around the hook, you're gonna cause a tangle fish. That's not nice. He's one of them young'uns there, ain't had no raising. He ain't had no parents in his life, and so he don't know how to act, and therefore he's disrespecting his elders and destroying property here, trying to tangle up my line like that. These kids, man, all they want to do is do graffiti stuff and protest at the schools their parents paid thousands of dollars to send them to. You know who ain't protesting at the schools? People like me. They had to take on a ton of student loan debt to go to school. People like me ain't wasting our time out there with signs out there protesting somebody coming to speak at the school. We were busy trying to pass our tests and graduate so we didn't have to pay the school any more money. It's the trust funders that's out there protesting. They ain't had no raising. Their parents have raised them with nannies and babysitters instead of teaching them right from wrong, actually being parents, you know. This next generation's gonna be even worse, because nowadays people want me to raise their kids. They'll turn on a YouTube video like this as my line's wrapped around my rod tip 100 ways. But these parents today want me to raise their kids for them. They hand them, when the kid starts wanting attention from mommy and daddy, and either mommy or daddy, you know, they're busy. They're chasing their next potential mate so they can have another kid that they don't have time for and can't afford. Instead of interacting with the kid that just wants their attention, they'll hand them a cell phone with a YouTube video playing or video game. And so this next generation that's coming up, God help us all, because they don't even know how to interact with people, because all they do is interact with screens all day. That's just how that carp was though, man. He's the same way. He's at that age and generation. He had my line all tied up and didn't give a crap about it. Completely disrespectful toward his elders. Some of them carp got a bad attitude, buddy. You know what I ought to do before I leave here today? Is I ought to pick up all this wood and stuff that I can get to and go sling it over there in the woods. Because here, when TVA ever gets around to fully raising our water up, which again should already be done by now normally, and this water runs all the way back to the woods there, if I come out here again, these carp will be catching me in all these dang pieces of wood here. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna pick up all this wood before I leave today and sling it over there in the woods. I'm gonna help our cause in the future. That's a damn good idea. That's one of the best ideas I've ever had. Now, I've had some good ones. I don't know if me filming an unedited carp video is a particularly good idea. We'll find out. But me picking up these sticks is a great idea. There's an old tire over there too. I'm gonna pick it up also. Every once in a while, a moment of brilliance will pop into my brain, and I'll get an idea that just can't be refuted. Even the people that hate my guts will think that's a good idea. No, they won't. No, they won't. They'll write a 3-page essay in my comment box telling me how I've disturbed nature by picking up this debris here and moving it out of the creek bed and into the woods. They'll swear up and down when I threw that debris over there in the woods that I closed up a gopher hole that was endangered species or something. That's what you know they will. They'll find something that I've done wrong. And they'll know I've done it too, because even though they hate my guts, they'll still be watching to this point in the video. If nothing else, I can count on these people that hate me to watch. And I know they've watched a long ways into the video sometimes, because when they complain about stuff, I'll be like, man, I talked about what they're complaining about like 2 hours into the trip. Like they've been watching a long time to get to that point. So they may hate me, but by gosh, they watch. Whether you love me or you hate me, a view is a view at the end of the day. It's all the same. Oh, right there was one I seen him. I saw part of his back there, like the water surface. I mean, they'll be on this side of the shoreline too. I just figured when I set up here this morning, we would cast that way because we would probably be spooking fish over here as we walk around and stuff. But I mean, this creek here, it ain't wide enough. And it gets even narrower up here as you go further up. And the area I cut through, you know, coming up here, it's pretty narrow. It's deeper there, that section around the bend here to the left, but it's much narrower. And then I had to go through a real shallow area beyond that, you know, because this creek's it's a pretty long creek and it winds around. You go through some shallow areas, deeper areas, you know, whatnot. But this right here is the widest area in this area here, in this section of the creek, you know. So I thought there'd be some fish up here in this grass. And boy, there's a bunch of them, man. I mean, this has been an action-packed morning thus far. I feel like the bites may be slowing down a little bit now, but I am trying to cast these baits out a little deeper, and we are down to 2 rods, so that could be part of it too. It could also be that we've just sore-lipped dang near every fish in this area right now too. Could also be that the sun is getting higher in the sky, and maybe that's going to affect the bite a little. I don't know. I don't know enough about carp to know when they typically feed and when they don't. I mean, catfishing, you know, I've talked about ad nauseum the feeding windows that you have with catfish, where dawn and dusk, for instance, are off. Those low light periods are great times to catfish. Maybe the same situation with carp. I had hoped to be out here as the sun come up today. I hit the snooze. Blame the girlfriend, y'all. She kept me up late. Pigeon Forge trip. I was all hyped up last night after riding that mountain coaster. She makes me go in front of her. The mountain coasters, they're like individual carts or whatever you set in, and they have these handles, and you push them forward to go or bring them back toward you to brake. And you control the speed you go at down the hill. And so she makes me go in front of her because I go way fast. I go full speed, man. I'm balls to the wall, man. I got them handles pressed down as far as they'll go. But she likes to go a little slower as this rod's about to go down. There it goes. We're on again. Boy, he's running, buddy. He's running. Has he got me in something over there? Oh, we're doubled. We're doubled. This one I think's got me in something. I was just talking about the dang debris down there. And I'm in something here. Oh man, that one's a pulling too. I feel something he's rubbing on right here. I hope he comes out of it. We don't want to lose another rig, y'all. This has been gonna be an expensive tackle day. Them pre-tied hair rigs are a little bit more expensive than just buying a pack of hooks and doing it your dang self. But no more hooks than I go through. Okay, you just come out of it then. He come free. No more hooks than I go through in a year's time. I'd just soon pay a little more and save myself the time and hassle, you know? And that ESP brand that I've been using, they're good quality hooks. So I'd just soon use those. That's a small fish. Boy, we're lucky on that one. He didn't get us wrapped up here. Let's see if this one's still on. This one here, he'd quit fighting out there. He done give up on me getting to him. And he just popped free. That fish was so sick and tired of waiting, he said, I'm out of here. He said, Justin, I give you every opportunity. He said, if I couldn't get to him in a timely manner, he'd take his business elsewhere. He don't think that the quality of me is as good as the local goat. Because the local goat last night, restaurant up there in Pigeon Forge, it left us waiting a while, man. Like we were out there, thankfully it was a nice night. We were sitting outside waiting for ourselves to be called, but we were left waiting a while. And then once we got to our table, we was still waiting forever. But the quality, totally worthwhile, worth the wait. That fish right there, he did not think I was worth the wait. He's on to the next person, he said. We done got that line back out though. We'll get this in here, get him going, and then we're gonna cast it back out too. I may throw this one out a little further up this creek possibly. We may just, instead of getting this here general, we may throw up there. Is this one here right here getting hit already? Let me step back. I think this rod we just cast out was already getting hit. My line's slack. It has been getting hit. Come here, fish. We got to get you going. We got another one about to take off on this rod that we just cast out, man. He's hitting it right now. Come here. Come here, fish. We got to get you going. Mm-hmm. Sorry about your luck, fish. You're gonna miss out on some camera time today. There you go. He gone. Let's just go ahead and pick up on this other rod and see what we got going on. I don't know if he just hit it and knocked slack in it or if he's actually potentially got it. He's got it. My line's swimming. He has come right at it. No, there it is. Okay. Well, we'll just rebait a couple of them then. I thought he was swimming right at me, but I've made a fool of myself here.
Do a handful of this, just a small amount. That next one, I'm gonna walk up a little ways. We'll keep one rod here in the area that we're getting action on for sure. And then this other one, we'll just walk up here a spell, throw into a little bit narrower. That's a hard word to say. Narrower. I promise I'm not intoxicated, y'all. I just can't get my words out. I need my hooked on phonics out here today. Hooked on phonics worked for me. You remember that? I guess hooked on phonics went out of business. It worked for too many people too quickly, and they couldn't sustain sales. So I'd never heard that infomercial again since I was a kid. Let's throw on a little bit longer distance up that way. See what's going on up there. If anything, it may not make a difference. I'm sure we'll get bit, but like, I don't know if it'll make any difference on quality or not. Again, I've gotten spoiled out here now with the fish we've got. Now I'm wanting a big one now. But overall, I'm pretty content with this. Just, I've had carp fishermen tell me, because believe me, nobody holds anything back in the comment box. Everything I'm doing wrong and how I could be doing better and catching more and bigger fish and stuff. And you know, and I'm sure if I was out on the main channel, probably truth be told, fishing for carp in a lot of the places that I catfish, I'm sure I'd get some better specimens, you know, some bigger fish. But part of the appeal for me carp fishing is, like I mentioned earlier, coming back in these secluded backwater areas, a day like today, filming this on a weekend with a ton of boat traffic out there. I can have this place to my lonesome. And it's beautiful back here. I mean, just look around. I'm gonna do a slow panoramic like I'm a professional videographer or something here. Absolutely beautiful back here. Beautiful. On a beautiful spring day. And to have this like my own little piece of paradise right here, right now. You know what I mean? Like, this is awesome. If I was out there fishing the main channel, could we get a better quality carp? Maybe. But we'd be getting a ton of boat wake just pounded nonstop. And you know, it's just, sometimes it ain't all about the size of the fish. Sometimes it's about the fishing experience and your day and doing what's going to make you happy. I know there's some real just trophy hunters out there. You know, all they care about is the biggest specimen. And if they get a 30-pound catfish, they're pissed off because it ain't a 100-pounder. You know what I mean? And I'm so thankful I'm not one of those people, because how bad would, I mean, how often are you going to get that true trophy specimen fish? Like, they're a trophy specimen for a reason. You know, you don't get those trophies very often. If every day you went out fishing, you were just disappointed with the results, even if you got a lot of fish or you got a 30, 40-pound fish, you know, if you were disappointed every day, that would suck. I'm glad I'm not that type of person, because I could come out on a day like today. I'm going home happy today. As long as I don't bust my tail running for these rods in this mud, I'm gonna go home happy today. And I wanna spend my life going home happy more days than I go home sad or angry or whatever, you know. That's the key to a successful life, is spending more days happy and doing what you want, and less days being sad and angry and doing stuff you don't want. That's some life philosophy for you right there. These carp ought to be taking notes right now. If they had hands and a pencil, they should be writing that down. Sometimes I wonder about the carp and just fish in general. When they get reeled in and they go back down there and talk to their friends about it, are they talking about the size of the human that reeled them in, like we do the size of the fish that we reel in? Like if you get some fat slob of a human being, some sloth, you know, that reels in a fish, do they go back down there to their buddies like, yeah, buddy, I got reeled in by a 300-pounder today? Like, is that a more exciting story for them to tell than them getting reeled in by some 10-year-old kid that weighs 55 pounds, you know? Like, how does that work with fish? Like, how do they tell their stories? What's a trophy human to a fish? Is if they go by the same standards us fishermen do, by wanting the fattest ones possible, them hot girls on the YouTube that go out there in their thong bikinis and catch fish and stuff, obviously us men, we enjoy partaking in those videos and watching them reel in them fish and stuff. I guess they're reeling in fish. I'm kind of distracted usually when I'm watching them, but the fish may be disappointed. Now, if Bertha got out there and reeled one in, they'd be bragging to their friends. They had a 300-pound human reel them in. That'd be their trophy human. They'd have a picture. When Bertha took a picture holding that fish would get on social media and download it and hang it on their wall down there. There'd be some stump down there, some old hollowed out log that fish was living in, and there'd be a picture of Bertha holding that fish up. Lord, I'm gonna get myself canceled out here today. If I don't get canceled for telling stories, I'm gonna get canceled over talking about fish holding up pictures of humans. If one don't get me, the other will. I'm hot, y'all. It's supposed to be 70-something degrees today, and I think it's already there. I got these bibs on. It was a little chilly this morning. I mean, I come out here, coming upriver, I had my hoodie on and these bibs, and thankfully I took that hoodie off before I started filming. But now, even with the bibs on, I'm a little warm. Here in a couple months, when it's 90 degrees every day, a day like this would be perfect. But when you've been used to colder temperatures and you first start getting these warm days in spring, it takes your body a little while to adapt to the heat. The same thing happens in the fall when it first starts turning cold. That first 50-degree morning feels like a Arctic blast when you've been used to higher temperatures than that every day. Look at this bird. What's this bird doing right here? Well, I thought he was gonna swoop down over here and poke my eyeball out or something. He's still flying. I got my eye on you, bird. He's coming back again. Here he comes. Boy, if the turtles ain't after us, the birds are. That turtle wanted to bite my finger off earlier. I seen the look in his eye. He had it in for me. I think he'd been hired by one of them crappie fishermen that hates me so bad. He heard there's a bounty on my fingers. He said if them turtles bite all my fingers off, I probably couldn't hold up a crappie to be able to put them on a hook to feed them to some catfish. So that'd make the crappie fishermen happy and they'd collect a reward on it. Somebody's always out to get you, folks. If you're doing anything at a high level in life, whether it's just your job. Oh, this rod, we've cast it out farther up this way. Here we go, it's hooked up. Oh boy, I slipped. I'm upright though. There we go, we're hooked up again. I knew some fish would work up in there. Oh, he's over that tree over there splashing around. I just thought we're getting the smaller fish here in this area. I'd throw up there a little further away. Maybe there might be a better fish swimming up there. I don't know. Those shaded areas under the trees would be good places to cast too, but I probably couldn't cast over there to that one with the branches and all. And that water over there under that tree is just inches deep too. It's gonna be so oh, whoa. Y'all, we got another one right here. We're doubled again. Y'all grab that rod for me, would you? Be a good fishing partner here. I'm gonna tighten that drag up a smidge. He's gonna get down there in that tree. I'm gonna deal with the one in the hand here right now. This one here, he's headed down there with him, buddy. I hope he don't get in that tree down yonder. He's made a long run. He needs to stay down there though, because this one here in my hand has went over here this direction. They'll be running laps around each other, full speed, like Dale Earnhardt and Richard Petty running around the track. Old Cold Trickle on Days of Thunder, one of the most underrated movies ever. 80s movies were so much better than the crap they put out today. Okay, we got this in here. We got him somewhat subdued. I'm gonna try to put him over here in the other rod holder, maybe on that side of the kayak. Maybe he'll stay over there. Now let's pick up on this one. Oh crap, we're gonna have to walk down here. He got in that wood. We're gonna walk down here and see if we can see what we got going on here. I'm picking up all this wood before I leave today though. I'm gonna help our cause for when this water comes up. Which one is he in? Which one? I thought if I could get on the other side of this, whatever he's in, I don't even feel him on there anymore. I see part of that stump right there, and it's deeper than what I can get out there to get. I'm not going to break off. I don't feel him on there. I wonder if it's a situation where he wrapped up around that stump and then pulled free. Well, crapola, man. Well, I guess here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna, I ain't gonna be able to work it free. And I can't wade out there too to be over my boots. That stump or limb or whatever is it's too heavy to pull toward me. Here's what I'm gonna do. We'll just let out some line. We'll walk this back over here. When I leave today, I'll get over there on top of that stump and see if I can get it free that way. I don't think a fish is on there no more. I don't feel him. So we'll get our rig back on the way out. I was hoping to get on the other side of that limb or stump or whatever it is and just go back the way he came over it, but he must have run circles. We'll get our other one undone here. And good news, fish, you can be landed on whatever side you want now. Yeah, all these limbs and debris here though, by gosh, it's going to the woods before I roll out today. Who knew I was coming out here and gonna be doing some manual labor today? But it's happening. This one here ain't too bad. Not the quality of our biggest, but not a bad. He's bigger than some of them we've got for sure. You know what, the closer he gets, folks, I tell you, you see them, and the closer they get, the bigger they get. We ain't held one up in a hot minute. Let's just slide a net in it. Plus, I don't want to risk breaking this rig off if I grab hold of it on a fish this size. He's bigger than I expected there when I first got him up. I know he was running like crazy, but you know what? That was the one we had walked up a little further and cast kind of in a deeper, narrower section there. It's interesting. May not have been making a difference, could have been coincidence, whatever. But it's funny how that worked out. Let me set you back up here. Let me turn the screen on there so I can see what y'all looking at. Oh man, I'm having a good time. This is fun. Days like this will make you a carp fisherman, man. If I'd had days like this when I was a teenager, in my young impressionable years, who knows if I'd even ever got into catfishing, you know? Who knows how things would have been different. I might have been doing this all the time. There's our rig. Let's get it out the way. Whew! You want to be held up a minute, fish? There he is, buddy. That's another one there that's bigger than I thought he was. Looking at him there, swimming around in the water. Something deceptive about their size. The closer they get, the bigger they get. They all fight so dang hard, you can't judge them when they first take off on you. Well, let's let this one go. We don't have any lines in the water right now. There he goes. I think what I'm gonna do, our other rig here, it's still messed up. I'm gonna go cast this other line out, and I'm just gonna leave that rig sitting there until I leave, because I ain't gonna fish much longer, no how. I gotta go over at Mark's house and have Ace weld my trailer, you know. And I got a long run to get back to the car from where I'm fishing that day. But I'm gonna cast this back out over here, and we'll work on maybe retying a rig here maybe. But boy, what a day, man. I hoped I would get enough action today to as I got the line around the camera, I'd hoped to get enough action today to hopefully make it worthwhile, you all watching this unedited video. But I was not expecting this much action. This is nice, y'all. This is nice. If I was going to do a unedited carp video, what better situation could I be in especially for the first one, you know? Like, if people hate this, like if this video don't work out, if people don't like this, I promise you, no unedited carp video I could possibly do from this point on, it's gonna be any better than this. We may get some different fish, maybe some bigger fish, but just the overall action and quantity here, I mean, it's gonna be tough to beat a day like this. And to get bit, you know, so quickly into it, like, I mean, I had legit worries that it was gonna take 30 minutes, 45, an hour to get a bite. I've done that so many times. Even places in the past where I've baited an area, you know, with the cattle cubes and stuff, like, it still oftentimes takes a while when you roll into an area to get them to bite, because again, you've spooked them on your way in there. And so they scatter and you got to wait for them to come back. But today, like, they just didn't, they weren't fazed by it today, man. They didn't care. They were just here. They're aggressive. I'm just gonna take this and throw it farther up that way. And then we'll see if we can't, I think I had one more rig in there in my hatch. Normally, you know, I don't carry a lot of extra rigs with me because I don't go through many rigs. You know what I mean? Like, I don't carry a bunch of gear that I'm not planning on using. So I don't keep a lot of rigs because I just don't go through them. But today, between the turtle and the fish that broke us off, and now we're hung over here. Like, we're running through some gear right now. But it's a good problem to have. If you're running through, fish are breaking you off and getting you snagged and stuff, like that means you own some fish. And so, better than the alternative of being in a situation where you're not getting any bites or nothing to possibly break you off or get you snagged because you're just not in an area that ain't got no fish, or maybe there are fish there and they just ain't biting. That's always frustrating when you see a bunch of fish, whether you see them like you're catfishing and you see them on your electronics, or you roll into a creek and you visually see carp with your eyes and then you can't get them to bite. Like, that's always frustrating. We got a good day today. I'll get back after the cats tomorrow, but today we're carp fishing. Let's go ahead and just throw this back out too. We might as well catch us a few more. Put just a little bit more on there. You notice every time I'm filling up now, I'm just using less and less because it's just not necessary, and that's helping our bait that we have. It's just helping conserve it and make it last longer. And you can get a lot of fish out of a few bucks worth of grocery store materials. That's what we got left right there. Still a lot. We can catch a lot more fish with that. I'll probably, even the number of fish we caught, I'll still be having some of that left over when I leave, because I ain't gonna fish much longer. What time? Yeah, we're 3 hours into this now. I'm probably we'll go a while longer. I wish I hadn't got out here so late today. Yeah. I wouldn't mind staying a little longer if I didn't have plans to go get my trailer fixed, but I definitely don't want to leave Mark and Ace waiting on me over there when they're doing me a solid. It helps to know people who have skills, and you never know when you're gonna need something welded. Just bad luck, you know. I wish when the water was down in the winter, I wish TVA and TWRA would take an opportunity to fix these ramps. Like this past, well, they've had one shut down for a while. This rod's already getting hit. We just cast it out. But they've had a ramp shut down for a while around here. It may be open by now, but like they repaved the concrete and all that. There wasn't a damn thing wrong with it. Like, that was one of the few ramps that you could guarantee, no matter how low the water was, you could get in and out of. They fix it. But you take a ramp like that I backed off of and damaged my trailer, they don't give a damn about it. But it did. It bent that cross beam. It bent it and cracked it. I heard it hit like kaboom, you know. When I went off, I didn't know. I didn't know it was that big a drop back there. Like some of these bass fishermen though, that's had their trailers get stuck. Like had to be pulled. Eric Romines, my buddy, ProMines, he's got a video on his YouTube channel. It went viral because he got his boat trailer stuck. He works on the rescue squad, like volunteer. And so he's able to call his buddies there down at the rescue squad, and they was able to come down and use them air things or whatever and lift his trailer up. But he had ran off, the water was down, and he backed his boat in and kerplunk. And them bass boat trailers, you know, they're so dang heavy, like you ain't you ain't lifting that up by hand like I was able. You know, I got Hercules strength and my trailer's light, so I was able to get mine back up on the concrete to be able to pull it out. But like these bass boats, when that happens, they got to call somebody. There's another one up there in Knoxville at Concord Park. And they finally put up some signs a few years ago. It's deceptive. Because there at Concord Park, if you hug the boat or the dock right there as you back down, you're fine. But if you get over just a little bit on each side of the dock, no matter which lane you're going down there, it's a sizable drop off. And a few years ago, I flipped my kayak off. I had one trailer wheel go off on that drop off and flipped my kayak off right there. And there's been a bunch of boats that's had their trailers get stuck right there and get damaged and stuff. When they finally, I don't know if it was TVA or TWRA, I don't know who manages that particular ramp and dock, but they finally put up some signs warning people about the dangers there when the water's down. But the signs, the way they're up there, nobody, I'm sure it still happens all the time in the winter, because nobody pays attention to them signs, you know, when you roll in there. But there's a lot of places like that, man. When they drop the water here, things can get treacherous. I think we got one. That one over there's had my line get hit a couple times. That one's on though. Oh, I thought he was. I thought he was. Let's pick up on the rod here and just see what's happening. Nope. He hit it. I guess he pulled the hook out. Well, I guess I need to lower my drag. I guess I forgot to loosen my drag on that one when I put it in the rod holder. I'm gonna just leave it be a second. We may need to reel it in and put on some more pack bait. We'll leave it be just a second. Oh, oh. Hold on, fish, I'm coming. Don't you dare go over there and get in that snag that your other friend got me in. Oh my gosh, he just popped free too. Boy, we started out so good, now we're having all these malfunctions, y'all. Malfunction junction. This kayak here I'm in today, my Hobie with the motor, I've mentioned this before, but it's so dang heavy. If I ain't got a boat ramp that I can back this thing into like a boat, I ain't putting this kayak in the water. My other kayak, my Old Town, with the pedals, it's light enough and I don't have a bunch of extra crap on it. I can put it in anywhere. So if I'm using a crappy launch, I'll take it. If I got a boat ramp, I'll take this one. But in the wintertime, a lot of the ramps that you could normally use when the water's up, they're just inaccessible, you know. So I end up using the pedal kayak a lot more in the winter, which I like using it anyway. I've talked about that too. I prefer it as far as just a fun factor. What kind of bird is that? Is that an eagle? I can't. I think it might be, I don't know, it might be a hawk. I can't see, it don't look like he's got a white tail. I don't think that's an eagle. He's flow over there behind them trees. Oh, here he comes again. Looks like he's got a lighter color head though. It might be a hawk. I don't think it's an osprey. It might be an osprey. There's some in this area here. Out here, catching some fish. Being a bird watcher today. I like birds. Ospreys are kind of annoying with their squawk when you get close to a nest, and geese, they're the worst, but I like birds. I got bird feeders right out in front of my living room window at home. Finally got some blue jays. We're at that point in the year the blue jays have started to come back. Been seeing more of them. I like watching the birdies. It's a guilty pleasure. I try not to spend a lot of money outside of fishing stuff. Fishing stuff, I'll buy whatever, because, you know, I'm doing this YouTube crap, and I want what I want to be able to catch fish and make the videos and whatnot. So if it's camera gear, if it's fishing gear, I just get it. But when it comes to personal enjoyment type stuff, I don't buy myself very much, but I do buy bird seed. And them suet, sway, the blocks that the woodpeckers eat and the blue jays eat and stuff, I'll buy those. I enjoy those. I enjoy watching them birds. I ain't been home a lot lately. Did that rod right there just move, the one that's hung? Did I imagine that? The one that's snagged. That fish is still on down there. Did you see that? He's still, I don't feel him. He's still on. Oh, well, speaking of being on, I ain't running for you, fish. I ain't busting my tail. The one we cast out up here is on now. That fish is still on that snag though. I thought he was gone. Unless we've had another fish come up. Maybe the original fish pulled off. And there's my hook and the fake corn. Possibly even some pack bait still left on the feeder. That fish comes along, snatches the fake corn, and now he's hung on the snag or something. That's possible. Well, either way, I'm getting that rig back, and I may or may not have a fish on it. But I'm getting that thing back when I leave here today. I can't get to it from the bank, but I can get to it out there in the kayak. Another common. I think he's going to be just a common. I don't see any. Yeah, he's common. No mirror. No mirror this time. What'd I do with my... Y'all done hid my pliers again. There we are. Come here, little carp. You definitely ain't going to be front camera worthy today. Maybe in a few years, if I catch you again, you'll get a picture with Santa Claus or something. These fish ought to call me Santa Claus, bringing them all this free food out here. Just the amount of pack bait we've used today. They've had a bunch of free meals out of us. Now granted, some of them has took the hook to the jaw biting the wrong piece of corn, but they've got a bunch of food out of us regardless. You're welcome, fish, even though you're not acting very grateful right now. You'll thank me someday, fish. Not every day you get a Christmas treat of Jell-O and some breadcrumbs. There we go. He gone. Well, now he's gone. Now he's gonna finally swim off. Oh, Lord. Look what I've done. Look what I've done here. I've hooked myself in the crotch. I hooked myself. Boy, of all areas you don't want to get a hook, buddy. That's a Like sitting on the pliers first thing in the morning and going to the proctologist. Another good way to ruin your day is get hooked in your nether regions there. That'll ruin your day quick, fast, and in a hurry, buddy. There is a fish on that line that's snagged, man. I see him down there. Here, before we rebait this one, I'm gonna walk back down there with this. Let's see what we can do with this. Because I don't know if that's the same, I don't think that's the same fish as earlier. Because I didn't feel him earlier. But by gosh, there's one on it now. I see him right there. It'd be nice if he unsnagged us. How awesome would it be if the fish unsnagged us? I've been trying to train these fish for years. Look at him, right there's the fish. Do you see him right there on the surface? And I'm snagged right here, and back over yonder there is the fish. I can't get that free though. Either that one or the other one has apparently done laps around that stump or whatever it is. But I see the fish right there. He's up there at the surface, man. Well, fish, you just hang out there. I'll be with you here shortly. Lucky for that fish, I ain't gonna fish much longer. Danged old thing. I wonder if he snatched that hook off the snag there. Because I was just standing here and saw that line move, and I saw the water down there. I was like, daggone. Surely we would, if that was the same fish, surely we would have seen it when we walked down the first time. You never know what kind of crazy shenanigans are going to happen, folks. You just never know what you're going to get yourself into out on the water, man. Sometimes I feel like if it can happen, it is going to happen to me. Sometimes it's just like that. I've had some crazy stuff happen through the years. Some self-inflicted and some just completely random. Let's throw back over here in the middle of this creek. All right. Well, loosen our drag again. Let's not make that mistake again. Okay. Oh, y'all, it's been a good day, y'all. It has been a dang good day out here. You know, the bite, look at this. I was about to say the bite seems to be maybe slacking off, but now I just watched this rod jump a little bit, this line. Well, something was near it, but it didn't have it. The bite seems to be kind of slacking off a little bit. Could be time of day, bait location maybe, just having stuck a bunch of fish, I don't know. But either way, we're still getting them with enough frequency to be keeping busy out here, by gosh. They've kept us busy all morning thus far. I need to walk away from this rod apparently. Now, as soon as I turn my back, he'll snatch it again. But yeah, y'all, I'm gonna help our cause here before I leave, move all this wood and debris. I'm gonna get that rig back. I'm gonna get my trailer fixed today, hopefully. If y'all, listen, if y'all need welding work done, Deuce's Wild Fishing Charters there on the Facebook, website, all that. Hit up Mark, he'll put you in touch with Ace. I think Ace, I should be shouting out his welding service on. I'm pretty sure he's got a Facebook page, and I don't know the name of it, but he's doing welding services there, Lenoir City, Tennessee. So by gosh, you need something welded, hit him up. He's working me in here on a weekend, by gosh. I appreciate it too. That fish, I still see him down there on the surface, man. That's had to be a different fish. We would have seen it before then. We would have felt it too, I feel like, when we was down there the first time. I gotta get me another drink of water, y'all. Seems like it's a little bit more humid today. And the fish have kept me running today too, a little bit. I'll tell you what though, man, a couple more months, we'll be dreaming of a day like today with this temperature, and here's a fish. This fish is dreaming of the day he was gonna get reeled in. This fish has been hoping his whole life Bertha was gonna reel him in so he gets that picture with a 300-pounder. And he's gonna be disappointed when he sees it's me. It's a good thing I still got my bibs on. It makes me look a little bigger. This fish guy, he's still gonna be upset he's only got him a 180-pounder this time instead of that 300-pounder he wanted. He's over there on the other side of the shore, over there under that tree. He is coming right, I see him over there. The ripples on the water, he is on that shoreline, man. He's just taking a leisurely stroll down through there. You know, another reason too, maybe our bites slowed down a little bit is I stopped casting over there in the shallows. That's where we were getting smaller fish, but we were getting bites constantly over there along the weed line. So that may be part of our bite slowing down a little bit too. Either way, I have caught enough fish and I'm getting bites frequently enough. I am fully satisfied. I come out doing this style of fishing, I just want to get me some action, enjoy some beautiful scenery on a beautiful day, and get some solitude, man. And we've got it. It's been a good day. I still ain't got a real good look at this fish to see how big, or I know it's a carp, but I don't know, potentially a mirror or what size. Come over here, fish. Get on this side at least where I can put you on camera. Yeah, this is a little better quality, not like some of them we've got, but better, smaller than some, bigger than some, in the middle. He's a schmedium. I'll put you in that net, buddy. You big enough, I don't want to risk, you know, again, I put him in the net, and boy, he's much bigger than I thought. Much bigger than I thought. I'm gonna put, you got in front camera time, fish. Y'all every daggone time, man. I knew he was a little bigger, but I didn't think he was that big until I got him in the net. And now I'm looking at him and I'm like, yeah, that's a good one. Let's do this again, y'all. Pull out your camera phone again there. As Edge and Christian on WWE used to say, for the benefits of those with flash photography, we'll do a 10-second pose here. Hold on, fish, don't be flopping. Okay. I just unhooked the fish and hooked the net, but we got it. Throw that out there. Y'all, this is a fat fish right here, man. Like, this is so much bigger than I thought when I seen him, man. They just keep fooling me. Look at that. Look at the belly on him, man. It's gotta be full of eggs. It's probably, I don't know how to tell a male and female carp apart, but that fat, pre-spawn, I bet it's full of eggs. I bet it's a female full of eggs. Man. Y'all, this is fun. All right, carp, I can feel you about to, I can feel it just about to, the energy coming, I can feel it. It's another one, y'all. Again, that was one I had cast out there up from where we've been getting them here in this area in the dang middle. It seems like the middle of this creek channel today has got our better, I may be making that up in my mind, but my mind is telling me just a little bit deeper water here. Instead of casting up inches deep, we've been maybe hitting 2 or 3 feet of water. But that has produced our better fish here. So that's how I remember it in my mind. Boy, that's awesome though. Getting them like that. I mean, I know carp obviously get much bigger than that. That size right there, buddy, that's exciting to me. Oh, he's got my, I don't want to say that fish done this to me. I done it to myself, I guess, when I unhooked him and tossed this line over in the water. Okay, there we got it. First I'd hook the net, then I got it all up in my feeder there. Mash that on there a little bit. I'm gonna throw out another. I ain't gonna fish much longer because I do want to clear this wood and I want to make it back in time to eat me some lunch before I head over to Mark's house. But might as well throw out another one. Another fish or 2 or 3 wouldn't hurt my feelings. Oh, boy, that slipped again. Loosen our drag. We got to remember to do that. I get to talking, sometimes I forget. I got a hole here that my foot keeps getting caught in. I step down and my foot catches where I've wore it out, I guess. Look right here, we just cast that thing out. There goes my line, man. It just got cast out. Y'all saw that, man. We're rolling here. This is unedited. This is unedited, man. That line just hit the water. I guess it got the fish's attention and he come and got it. Like this, you know, I can talk about this in an edited video, but y'all are seeing it happen here when we're raw and uncut. When this kind of thing happens, like, can't nobody call me a liar because you just saw it. I mean, that line, we just got the rod and the rod holder, man. We just got it reset. And he's got me in something down here. He's got me wrapped in something. Let's run down here. Y'all keep an eye out for snakes. I worry about coming in this high grass on a warm day like today. I ain't dealing with no snakes today, y'all. They out right now. Let's see what he's got. I see he's around here. He's got me in something. What is he in? I can't get out here much further. It'd be beyond my boots. Are you kidding me right now? I see the fish right there. I see him right there. What has he got me in? He's kicked up all that mud and I can't see which direction he's possibly run me around. Hey fish, whatever direction you went, go back the other way. Let's see if I can poke him and get him to... Well, that's bad luck right there, y'all. He's on the line, but I can't see what he's wrapped up in. I need him to be still a minute so that dust will settle. You think he will? Looks to me like he's kicking up more. I need you to be still, fish. This fish ain't got a lick of sense. This fish couldn't fight his way out of a wet paper bag. He must have, the fact we can't get on the other side of it and get him out tells me whatever he's in right there, he's apparently ran circles around it. And this water right here is just deep enough, I'm gonna be over my boots if I try to get out there in it. It's another one I'm gonna have to get out here in the dang kayak for. What I can do, when I get out here in the kayak with him, I can come right up over here and reach down there and scoop up the fish with the net and get him unhooked and then hopefully work my rig free. But here on the bank, since I can't get to him and I can't even if I went down there and got my net, I can't extend the handle far enough to be able to reach him. Daggone it, man. I'm getting both these rigs back, so help me. I'm doing it. Before I leave here today, I'm getting them both back. Daggone it, y'all. He hit it fast though, didn't he? I mean, that thing, it couldn't have been sitting in my rod holder for 30 seconds before he hit it. When it hit the water, we either put it right in front of him or he heard the splash and came to it. Because, you know, think about this, as we're down to one rod in commission right now. But if you think about this, folks, every time today these fish have heard a splash, yeah, some of them have been hooked, obviously, that we've reeled in. But the other fish that ain't been hooked have been over there eating the crumbs and the corn and stuff. So every time these fish are hearing a splash now, they're like, oh, dinner bell, we got free food every time it hits. And so I bet that situation, that fish heard the splash and he's like, free meal, and he goes over there and boom, he's instantly on. And instantly into a snag. What a day though, y'all. I mean, I've had some days like this carp fishing. My last session out there, I was just catching them one after another. Just right place, right time. I think they're just a bunch of fish working in these creeks right now pre-spawn. But I've also had a lot of days where you go out and just can't get anything going, man. So when you have days like this, it's fun, it's appreciated, it's a good time, man. I hope y'all can, if y'all give carp fishing a try, I hope y'all get on some days like this, because they'll keep you busy and they're fun. If you get past your brainwashing that we've been told our entire lives here in America that these are trash fish, you get past all that and just enjoy them for what they are, a hard fighting fish that's readily available in most bodies of water. Buddy, you can have your time. Grocery store baits, minimal tackle. Maybe you get to a point, maybe you get into it and you want to get you some anchor poles and a big net and a kayak to be able to or a boat or whatever to be able to access some backwater places you can't get to, maybe you take it to that level. I don't know, I have. But it don't take a lot to get started in it. And a day like today will get you hooked on it quick. Here's what I'm thinking right now though, y'all. I was gonna let this camera run for 3 or 4 hours, you know, try this raw and uncut video today. Try the style. So, you know, y'all, I'll get the feedback. But people either watch it or they won't. And if it gets watched and there's interest in it, and you know, we'll do it again. But if nobody clicks on the video and the average watch time is, you know, where they've clicked on it and like, oh, this sucks, and they click right off, well, then I'll know it ain't resonating, right? But my plan today coming out was to try it, let the camera run 3 to 4 hours. And then I would have probably fished a little bit longer off camera before I, you know, go home, eat lunch, and go get my trailer fixed. But I think what I'll probably do, since we're down to 1 rod right now, I'm gonna clear up the shoreline here. I'm gonna, you know, grab all this wood and carry it off, so we don't hopefully have as much of this problem again in the future when the water's up. Because I definitely want to come back, like when TVA does get off their ass and finally raise us up to full pull here, like I want to come back when all of this here gets submerged, when it's a foot or so deep, man, like all this grassy area, them carp are going to be in here. They're going to be rooting down in that, eating the roots of them plants and any bugs and worms and snails and all that. Like it'll be a smorgasbord for them in here. So as many fish as we've gotten here today, as soon as they raise the water up here in a, you know, hopefully a week or 2 here, like, you know, it should even be even better by it. So I want to come back, but I don't want to be snagged every time we hook a fish. So I'll get rid of this stuff, but I won't subject you to coming with me while I carry off sticks. I've learned, people will watch a lot of things on the internet. I personally have watched a lot of things on the internet that after I'm done, I'm like, why did I watch this? It's like, what was I thinking just sitting through this entire, you know, I'm sure you're the same way, but I won't subject you to me walking around picking up sticks out here. But I'm gonna do that. Before I do that, I'm gonna reel in my 1 functional line, cast out some fresh bait, then pick up sticks, hopefully get another fish or 2 on that line. And then I'm gonna hop in the kayak, go try to get these fish off the snags and get my rigs back. And then I'm probably gonna take off, go eat me some I got my leftovers there from the local goat restaurant last night in the fridge. I'll eat part of that for my lunch. And then go get my trailer welded. And then hopefully Ryan will message me and tell me he is definitely on his way south today and is going to catch us some bait for tomorrow. And then maybe I can take the rest of the evening off, hang out with Daphne the dog a little bit. If Ryan says something has changed and he ain't coming, well, I guess I'll be getting back out this evening to go catch me some skipjack for tomorrow. But my plan is right now is to go down to Chickamauga tomorrow. So regular viewers, you will hopefully, if I get on some fish, you will see that video next. Ryan may or may not be with me on that video there. If he is, and he's fishing close enough to me, we'll strap a microphone on him and we'll make fun of him out there for 3 or 4 hours. We'll give some more people other stuff to complain about than just my stories, you know. But yeah, y'all, I think that's the plan. So we're gonna wrap up this video. I'll get my manual labor stuff done here, maybe catch a fish or 2 off camera, and then take it to the house, y'all. So hope you had fun. I've had fun out here today. So if y'all like it, we'll do this again in the future. And if you don't like it, well, I'll still be doing it in the future. We just won't be on video fishing together. If we do fish together again on this style video, help me reel in some of these dang fish next time, man. We got 2 and 3 rods going down. Y'all help a boy out, why don't you? Anyway, y'all, I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for coming with me today.